prizes. The fastest car here all week. In fact, the defending winner of this race, Dale Jarrett, isn't even in the field. His car was here, but he won't start. And there's surprises all through qualifying, especially right up on the pole position. Let's go to the front of the starting grid and meet the pole sitter with the editor of Stock Car Racing Magazine, Dick Berggren.
Well, thanks, Mike. Jack Sprague cut the fastest lap in qualifying, so he gets to start up front, but starting up front and finishing in the #1 position are quite a different deal. What are you going to do to win this thing, Jack?
Well, it really is. To win this race is a lot harder than to qualify on a pole, but we're going to try and get out there and get comfortable and see if we can keep the car there for the finish and competitive about the last 20 laps and see if we can bring the Fred Turner Racing Staff America Oils home first.
That's his plan. Working pit road with me today is one of the most popular veteran commentators on motorsports, Barney Hall. Barney?
Kenny Schrader had to win a qualifying race here yesterday just to get in the field, and at best now he'll be starting in 33rd position. Kenny, you got a long ways to go, and as the old country music song says, a short time to get there. Can you take this thing to the front and still have 4 fenders on it?
Oh yeah, we can be pretty careful. You know, the little car's running off good, it's capable of getting up there, and we got 150 miles before they start paying that halfway money lap, so we got time.
Kenny Schrader had said just a few minutes ago, there's only one direction to go from where I'm starting, and that's straight ahead. And if anybody in this business can do it, Kenny Schrader is very capable.
He sure can, Barney. From here along pit road at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, let's go topside to this great facility and meet the men who will call today's race. Here's America's racecaster, Ken Squire.
Well, thank you, Mike. As we get ready for this 300-mile Grand National race, one thing for sure, youth and enthusiasm have reached parity with age and experience on this starting grid. Jack Sprague, a youngster from Michigan, up in front. Todd Bodine right beside him. The Burton brothers qualified in row 2. Then there's David Green and the 19-year-old USAC champion, Jeff Gordon. Mike Wallace, one of the Wallace kids from Missouri, up there in the top 10. So those veterans like Waltrip and Earnhardt don't have those front row seats they usually have. And for my colleague Neil Bonnet, hey, what's happened to you guys, the great champions that usually have come in here and sort of cherry-picked this race?
Ken, I tell you, for the past few years, all we hear from the Busch guys, Winston Cup guys coming here getting our money. If the Winston Cup guys get any money today, they're going to have to earn it. These boys are running good, and they're going to make everybody earn their money today.
The biggest problem for this field are not the competitors they're running against, but the track upon which they're competing. Take a look at what happened in a Sportsman 100-mile event this morning up here in Turn 4, the critical area of the track. Ed Gartner out of control, gets tagged by Harry Page, and then the 61 of Tom Deeth and Mike Carver. Gartner may have broken a leg in this incident, but the story is Turn 4 throughout the last 9 days has been the critical area of this track.
Ken, we've seen it over and over again. There's a 3 and 4 is a landfill area. The track has been so hot the pavement has actually drooped down and sagged. There's 3 big problem areas. If you hit either one of those things wrong, you're going for a bad ride, and we've seen a lot of those this week.
For more on the story of this 300, let's go down to the start-finish line area. Our TBS staff's Ken Stabler is there. Ken, how do you see this race?
Well, I spent most of the morning on the other side of this wall talking to drivers and crew chiefs, and there was 2 major concerns. One was the changing weather conditions. The overcast when they were practicing dictated one type of setup. Now we have hot, sunny type weather, another type of setup, getting the car dialed into weather conditions. The other major concern, as Neil mentioned, seemed to be the roughness and the dog leg over coming out of number 3 and number 4. Who handles that the best? And, of course, who makes the necessary adjustments at the halftime break? Either way, we should be in for a good fender-to-fender race.
It's one of the great events, and we'll have the starting lineup as they qualified for you following these messages. Charlotte Motor Speedway, that's where the action is this Saturday afternoon, live on Speedway. Neil, take us around this facility.
Ken, it looks simple enough, but I'll tell you what, this track, going down in the first turn, there's a good little bump. You sail off in there, you come through the dog leg, you go off into one. The car almost gets light and airborne going in. Really lands hard in the bottom. Easy exit up off turn 2, long back straightaway. Then you got your hands full. 3rd and 4th turn, they're having a problem there. There's nothing can be corrected this race. If you can get off 3 and 4 decent today, you're going to be a factor in this race.
They've just cranked up the engines. We're ready to go. NASCAR Grand National Racing at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's time to take a look at the Haviland starting grid as to how they qualified for today's 300-mile event. The pole sitter, Jack Sprague, at 167 miles an hour. He's out of Michigan. First pole in his career. Beside him will be Todd Bodine out of Chemung, New York, car number 34. Qualifying in row 2 today, it's Jeff Burton, winner of a Grand National earlier this season, and his brother, Ward Burton, is on the outside of that row. Moving further back, Owensboro, Kentucky's David Green starts on the inside of row 3, and the great veteran Tommy Houston is next from Hickory, North Carolina. Row 4 is that USAC midget champion. That's Jeff Gordon. And the veteran Dick Trickle from Wisconsin is alongside. In row 5, it's Modesto, California's Ernie Irvin, number 10, and Mike Wallace. Yeah, the other Wallace kid is here, and he's doing well in qualifying. For the rest of the field, in the row 6 is Mike Waltrip and Ed Berry. For row 7 today, it's Morgan Shepherd, the 78 and 81 winner, and Robert Presley. Row 8 today is Dave Resendez and Davey Allison. In row 9, it's Richard Lassiter from Arkansas and Jimmy Spencer's car. Then in row 10, Chuck Bound out of Portland, Oregon, the defending Grand National champion, and Kenny Wallace. In row 11 is Dale Earnhardt, the 83 champion, and Ed Perry. Row 12 is Tom Peck from Pennsylvania and Mike McLaughlin, the great modified driver from Waterloo, New York. Row 13 is Harry Gant out of Taylorsville, North Carolina, the 87 and 82 winner, and Dave Mater. Row 14 is Bobby Labonte and the 79 300 winner, Darrell Waltrip. In row 15 is Jimmy Hensley and Terry Labonte. Row 16 today, Joe Nemechek, the outstanding rookie a year ago in Grand National Racing, and Elton Sawyer. Row 17 is Ken Schrader, and alongside is Robert Huffman, who just won that 100-mile sportsman race about an hour ago. In the 18th row is Steve Grissom from Gadsden, Alabama, and Cecil Eunice from Georgia. Row number 19 is Robert Powell out of Moncks Corner, South Carolina, and Tracy Leslie. Row 20 today, here's Butch Miller out of Michigan, Bobby Hillen from Midland, Texas. The 21st row, Phil Parsons is starting, and Bobby Dotter of Chicago is next to him. And finally, the Iron Man Jack Ingram rounds out the field in one of his last performances here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the great champion from Asheville, North Carolina.
Ken, before they get going here, we came to the racetrack this morning, and everybody was concerned. It was threatening rain, big overcast. I went in the garage area. The fans were concerned about rain. The guys on the other side were hoping for clouds. All of a sudden, it's broke open. Probably the worst thing that could have happened for the drivers is being able to hook up in 3 and 4. The track is slick up there. They've had that problem. We don't want to overemphasize it, but there's no way to do that. It's going to be a problem. This hot weather is going to make it even worse.
No Grand National race in 1991 has been won from the pole, Neil. That's how competitive this Grand National racing is. As we take a look at the weather, 77 currently and on the climb. Bother our in-car cameras because the cloud cover is so low today that our helicopter, again, as it happened a week ago, is having trouble getting to an altitude to give us pictures from all around this mile-and-a-half super speedway. Getting set, getting ready to go. As we prepare in the back straightaway, pace car has the lights off. Just about ready for a go. Bobby Labonte giving us those last in-car pictures. Davey Allison with the camera on board. And Ernie Irvin with the Mac Tools in-car camera.
They turned the lights back on, Ken. They must be going to go one more. I know it's not to warm the motors up. I don't know what it is. It might be to get some of these folks back off the fence. They're standing hanging off the fence.
And I think what they may do is run them down pit road and let them assess what their tacks say so they don't come in too hot with these new rules on pit road, which we might describe for just a moment, Neil.
Ken, what they've been doing, and they're fixing to turn down pit road. Everybody wonders what's going on here. They're really enforcing that 55-mile-an-hour down pit road rule. These race cars do not have speedometers in them. You got a tachometer to reach engine RPM. They tell you to follow the pace car, look at that tack, get you a reference point of what you need to be turning coming down pit road. If you come in too fast and too hot, they're going to penalize you. So right now, it's just a reference point for these guys.
Here's the race analysis. $259,000 is up. It's a pretty good mid-race earning. There's an extra $20,000 if you win the pole and the race today. And remember, it's split. We'll come in and stop the race after 102 laps, take a 15-minute break, and then go back and decide it all.
And you're right, Ken, you mentioned that 15-minute break. That's something that when it was first initiated a little while back, they didn't like, but now they're really looking forward. It gives them time to work on the cars, and drivers really like it.
Furthest back, a winner who started 21st, Bobby Labonte at Bristol in the 91 season of Grand National Racing, and is much closer to the front, about 16th here in this race. And consider this, Harry Gant, the twice winner, is starting 25th. Darrell Waltrip today is starting back in the 28th position. Terry Labonte is starting in 30th as we get set to go green. Butch Miller well back in the field. Jack Ingram all the way on the tail. Looking at some pictures out of that champion spark plug in-car camera from Bobby Labonte. Pace car is coming in. Then Ernie Irvin's Mac Tools in-car camera. Field is coming down. We're set to go racing here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway on this great Memorial weekend. The big 600 tomorrow. Many of the same stars trying to win that $1 million race on Sunday afternoon are ready to mix it up here now. Going into turn number 1, Jack Sprague. Position that he gained with a qualifying lap at 167 miles an hour. Even into the back straightaway. Make him 3 wide. There was one change in qualifying. Jeff Burton's car got beaten up, so he's going to take over Jimmy Spencer's number 45 ride for a couple of laps. Then Spencer will step out or step in after Burton has put himself in a position to score some points. Coming by, Ward Burton in the 3rd, and Tommy Houston moves up quickly. Tommy Houston from 6th into 4th position.
Todd Bodine really got a good run on the outside. The track's a lot freer out there if you can get a hold of the racetrack. And he made a good, strong move early in the race.
Battle is for second, as you see. For the moment, Todd Bodine snapping away from the field. Sprague now drops back to second, and he's being challenged by Ward Burton in the blue car on the outside. Just behind him is Tommy Houston. The black number 8 is David Green. And car number 5 is getting the consultation flag. Apparently a little over-eager on that start. And car number 5 comes down on pit road, taking a very short penalty is Robert Powell of Moncks Corner, South Carolina, for not staying with the field as he was supposed to on that start.
I tell you, NASCAR is really trying to stay on top of this thing. You got so many good cars back in the pack. They're going to make you do it right. There's not going to be any jumping around.
Tommy Houston, number 6, now pulls up into 3rd spot. It'd be great to see Tommy Houston have a tremendous day in that Rose's Store Buick. He's won 29 Grand National races. But here at Charlotte, his best finish, a 3rd back in 1979. I'd like to turn that around. Field coming around to complete the 4th lap, this time by.
Here's Ernie Irvin working on Tommy Houston down low. That's going to be a hard move to make down low in 3 and 4. We'll see guys try it all day. Sure, we're looking out of Davey Allison's car right through the back at Earnhardt up there, nipping on the back bumper a little bit.
Back in 11th spot. Davey Allison, Earnhardt right there. Jack Sprague has fallen to 5th. There's Davey Allison's car. Maintaining 11th spot. And with Michael Waltrip moving around number 79, Dave Resendez. Earnhardt to the bottom of the racetrack. Hard to remember a time when Earnhardt has come in more at ease. Feeling just so good about himself and about this race. And all week long, things didn't go his way. Backed into the wall and qualifying for the 600 tomorrow. He seems happy with himself and with his team and crew as they get ready for today's competition and then the 600, which you'll be seeing live tomorrow on TBS. Car number 30, that's Michael Waltrip, who had such a great run in the Winston Open and came from the rear to finish 6th in the Winston itself this past Sunday. Earnhardt trying to find a little room right down below the white line.
See if they're going to try 3 deep here a little bit. Mike Waltrip working on the outside. Really has a tendency to loosen that car up on the inside, and Dale got right up under him and made him slide up just a little bit there.
Resendez in 9th, red car on the inside, being challenged by Michael Waltrip on the outside, number 30, and Resendez holds on to 9th. Earnhardt stays in the 11th position. Davey Allison just back in 12th on the shakeout. 6 laps down. Here's the 79 car running in 9th spot. Then on the outside is Michael Waltrip. And 11th is Earnhardt.
Mike Waltrip's car has ran real good in practice. His Winston Cup car is running good, and this car, he's having a good week.
Looking a little further up, Dick Trickle, number 92, is running in 7th, and the 97 of Morgan Shepherd is running in 8th, just in front of that pack that we've been following. Take a look at this battle that's developing for 3rd place on the racetrack. Tommy Houston is there in the car number 6. Ernie Irvan is right there behind him, and then Jack Sprague in the 48 and started on the pole, and David Green, who has replaced Bobby Hamilton in that car number 8. That's a good car. Bobby Hamilton was a fine driver, and this David Green is just as good.
They've got some good equipment. We saw Bobby Hamilton win with that car at Richmond, and it's always right up front every race we go to. Well, I tell you, Ken, we got a lot of cameras around this racetrack, and it's going to take them today. The lead's a good battle. It's a good battle for 3rd, and this group here is about 7th and 8th, and they're going at it pretty hard.
David Green in the black number 8 out of Owensboro, Kentucky. Currently 18th in the Grand National points, and he already has a win this year at the Lanier Speedway over in Gainesville, Georgia, one of the nicest short tracks in America.
It's going to take a little bit of running here. We were talking earlier about the corner. Here we see Earnhardt working along with the. It's hard to see the car number there.
Well, the 92 is Trickle, and Shepherd is on the outside. Now here's Earnhardt moving up to the outside in that pack.
That's what's been we're wondering right here if the Winston Cup guys, there's Earnhardt, Waltrip, Michael Waltrip, and Davey Allison, they were going to try to get together and see if they can go catch those Busch guys. They sure put them to work this week. They're going to have to try to gang up to get back to the front.
Here you see the number 97, and that is Morgan Shepherd. He is now in 7th. Earnhardt has moved to 8th. Trickle has fallen to 9th. Now he's fallen to 10th as Michael Waltrip moves up into the 9th position. Let's see what's going on in Dale Earnhardt's pits.
Well, I'm with his crew chief, Tony Urey. Tony, you guys started 21st. You're already up to 8th. Is he running that thing too hard, you think?
No, I don't think he's running too hard. We've been running fast all week. We just take the grill off too much when we qualified and had a bad qualifying run. It's just something we never tested for. We just blocked it off too much, so I think everything will be okay. We've been running good all week. He's not punishing the car.
That's a good, strong car. That's the car Earnhardt won Daytona with.
And, of course, Dale Earnhardt is a 15-time winner in Grand National Racing. Pass for the lead. Here's Ward Burton on the bottom of the racetrack working Todd Bodine. Whoa, out of control at 75. That is Ward Burton out of South Boston, Virginia, gathering it back up. He had himself a handful.
Ken, I mean, he made that look easy, but when he lost that car, he did quite a job of getting that thing back. When you drive up under a guy like that, it really loosens your car up. He broke the rear wheels loose, and he really did a good job to get the car back.
Ernie Irvan now challenging. Ernie Irvan in the number 10 car trying to move under Ward Burton and take 3rd place as they come to the line to complete lap number 13.
Ken, that's one of those deals after that you just kind of want to tell yourself, time out, let me regroup, get this thing going again, and he's probably going to be able to pull back up there, but he needs just a second to get his breath.
Ward Burton moving back into the position. Ward, do you have a chance to win this race?
I tell you, we want to fast right now, and we just passed 3 or 4 of the Winston Cup drivers in the last time out. If I make the right decisions and my crew chief and I get our heads together, I think we might pull it off.
29-year-old Ward Burton, who pulled off a great save down in turns 1 and 2 laps ago, maintains 3rd position as Todd Bodine leads. Tommy Houston has gone to 2nd. Burton in 3rd. Ernie Irvan in 4th, and Jack Sprague, the pole sitter, now in 5th with David Green's number 86.
I tell you, he did a good job saving his car, but he also did a good job not taking Bodine out with him. When you lose a car like that, the first instinct is crank it to the right and save it, and he had to just ride it a little bit before he turned it right, or he drove right up into Bodine. He did a good job to keep both of those cars out of trouble.
This is Ward's 2nd Charlotte race. Sure looks good out here right now, and he's got it all gathered back up, flaunting those blue colors in 3rd spot as Todd Bodine leads. Houston stays in 2nd. Again, Ernie Irvan 4th, Jack Sprague 5th, Green 6th, Earnhardt to 7th, Morgan Shepherd to 8th, Michael Waltrip 9th, and Davey Allison in 10th. Here's Bobby Hamilton closing up on Sprague, and we'll be back with more of the action in a moment.
May 26th on TBS.
24 today from the grandstand, that is. Dale Jarrett, defending champion of this race. What kind of week have you had?
Boy, it's been terrible for the Nestle Crunch Pontiac and the team. Things just didn't go our way. We ran fast here testing, came back for qualifying. We were fast that morning, had a piston to mess up in the qualifying engine, put another one in, went back and were fast again, went to qualify, broke a valve. Got in the qualifying race yesterday, went from last up to fourth in about 8 or 9 laps, and then the alternator bracket broke, fell down, knocked the belt off the water pump, and it ran hot. So somebody didn't want me in that race. I'm safe right here.
Standing here. Who do you like in this thing?
Well, it's going to be tough to pick. I think Earnhardt's going to be strong. He's coming up through. He's not known in this division as qualifying real well anyway, but he's always going to be tough to beat. Harry Gant's back there, but he's going to be up towards the front before it's over. But I tell you, the car that's leading right now, Todd Bodine, has run awfully well all year long. He does a good job. He seems to really get the car dialed in for long periods of green flag racing. Looks like that's what we're going to have here today, and I think he's going to be tough.
Okay, Dale, good luck in the 600 tomorrow here on TBS. Let's go back topside to Ken Squire.
Thank you, Mike. Todd Bodine's Buick flashing by in front, and look at Jack Sprague in his third Busch Grand Nationals, rubbing sheet metal with car number 3, Earnhardt, as Earnhardt pulls his way through on the bottom. Dale Earnhardt collecting again. Remember, he started 21st, and with that move, Earnhardt is now up to 5th. And your fishing buddies leaning on people.
I tell you what, it doesn't seem like it makes any difference where Dale starts, either in Busch or Winston Cup. He works his way to the front. They miss on qualifying. The Busch car, they just never seem to put out that big an effort qualifying, but he's really been running since they started this race.
Earnhardt has about 15 car lengths to make up in quest of the next competitor to knock down, and that would be number 10, Ernie Irvan. Irvan had started 9th on the field. He currently is in 4th. Here you are riding with Davey Allison in the Haviland car.
We need a booster seat on the camera there. I can almost see over the head. See Davey doing a little bit of work here.
About how Davey sees it in the banking. Now you're in the Mac Tool car as you ride with Ernie Irvan. And remember that he is currently being shown in 4th position. From the champion in-car camera of Bobby Labonte, car number 44, being shown just outside the top 20.
Several cars passing Bobby as we're taking this shot right here.
He doesn't like that at all. Remember, he's up in that point scramble that is going on in the Grand National ranks. He had a good start to the season. Things not going well here for Bobby Labonte in number 44. Here's the 9th place battle, number 30. Michael Waltrip in the yellow car, right with him. Davey Allison in the 28. Dave Resendez, who had that great race in Nazareth, Pennsylvania a year ago, looking terrific. Massachusetts driver in the number 79 car. He's running in 11th position. Tom Peck is in 12th. Kenny Wallace is 13th. The number 45 car, which now has a Burton name on it for the start, finds itself in 14th. And Chuck Bound, who started 19th, is now in 15th. Here's the battle. Michael Waltrip in the 30 car into 9th.
Ken, early in the race, you had Earnhardt, Davey, and Waltrip there together, and I thought they were going as a group. And Dale pulled away, and it seems like these guys are running about the same speed. So Dale must have a little bit more than they've got right now.
Working the 27th lap as Todd Bodine continues to dominate the early going. There's Davey Allison trying to close in. Michael Waltrip a position down. Davey Allison, who won $325,000 last weekend in the Winston.
Down the back straightaway, Robert Huffman is dropped to the inside. He won the race just before this one, and he's having trouble.
Beat Dennis Setzer in a grand finish. 2 cars went in the wall. They were side by side, and it was Huffman coming across first. Now his car is slowing down, and he's limping back onto pit road. Number 30. That's Michael Waltrip.
Got a car spinning down through the tri-oval across the grass going in turn 1.
Car number 87 is being reported as out of control, getting loose out here. And the driver would be Joe Nemechek. An outstanding rookie in Grand National Racing brings out the first caution of the day. The Lakeland, Florida campaigner. He's had a 2nd and a 3rd this year, looking for that first win. As that car get loose, and the 27-year-old had a handful in turn number 1. Nemechek back underway.
Started way back here at the start-finish line, went through the grass the whole length of the front straightaway. luckily, when he came up on the track, he didn't get up in the way of any other people coming through.
He'll get a bill from Humpy Wheeler for lawn manicure.
Yeah, that car says Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet on the side of it, and he's going to get some TV exposure with it going sideways for him.
Interesting how many guys have had their opportunity to move up through the ranks, like Ernie Irvan, now Joe Nemechek, out of the graciousness of a guy named Earnhardt, who is such a rugged competitor when they turned that green flag up.
Yeah, they looked like they were getting ready in Earnhardt's pit. We had a shot through the pits there, and it looked like they were getting ready to put tires on Dale. More than likely, several of these guys to come in.
This is the back straightaway, entering the 24-degree third turn. Right in here, Neil's where it gets real rugged.
They're enforcing this speed limit in here, too.
Let's go to Dick Burke.
Well, Earnhardt's going to come in and make a pit stop. Didn't start out right. The pit side fell apart just before he came in here. They're certainly going to take 2 tires. They're allowed to do just that. They cannot take 4 tires. This is Earnhardt's own crew. This is not the crew that works the Winston Cup car. This is his own crew. His wife owns the car. The team works on the car. They don't want any help. They got 1 can in. They're waving. They've got that in. They've got the tires on the right-hand side. Earnhardt is off and away in 16.5 seconds.
1983 winner of this event, Dale Earnhardt, back on the charge. Earnhardt, who has come from 21st position. Darrell Waltrip's number 17 was 18th just before that flag, and this looks like a typical Waltrip race where you don't know his number until late in the race, and then all of a sudden, there he is. Have you a special strategy, Dale Earnhardt, for this race?
Well, we try to go up front, and that's the place to be. It's you're out of trouble. You're running up front with the leaders. You can pretty much run their race or make them run yours, and I enjoy doing that. So I want the car to run as consistent as it can. That's what we're working on here in practice. Try to get the car as smooth and as consistent as we can, and try to go for it.
He sure does go for it, as we just saw down here in turn number 1.
And Ward Burton must have really felt good about his car. He did not pit that time, and we saw him get a little bit sideways earlier, so he said wanting the opportunity to run up front. They did not pit on it stop.
Ward Burton will be shown in first. See his car right there. Here's Tommy Houston, number 6, back in the pits. Dave Mader will start in second, and Ed Barrier third as we get ready to go green with 30 laps now complete.
Ken, they're going under the hood of this car. That's not a good sign. They're pulling the air cleaner off. Here's the driver change in the 45, Ken, that we were talking about earlier.
So that's one of the Burton kids climbing out, and Jimmy Spencer climbing into his own automobile at the 30-lap mark in the Champion 300 at Charlotte. 17th at the present time.
Let me tell you, that's a problem. When you see them looking under every end of the race car, we got a guy looking under the back, under the front, under the hood, left side, right side. They're trying to figure out what's wrong. If you can find the problem, you can correct it. Evidently, they're trying to find out where they have got a problem.
Let's go to Barney Hall in the Ernie Irvan pits.
Kenny, now in the pits right now with Tony Glover, the crew chief on Ernie Irvan's car. Tony, you had to bring him in a moment ago. You came in early, and I saw you kicking the spoiler up. Is there a problem on the car?
He says the car's a little loose right now, but, it's awful hot today, and I think everybody out there is pretty loose. But, I think we'll be in good shape. The Mac-2 Chevrolet's doing a good job, and I think we'll be all right.
Talked to him a moment ago, Ken, and he said that quite a few of the cars are very, very loose in the early going. In fact, we saw a lot of spoilers being kicked up and down pit road.
Well, ready to kick up some dust once again here. Not much of it on asphalt, but nevertheless, we had so much speedy dry down from that Sportsman 100. You can find it out there now, Neil. Here they come on the brake. Up on the outside, a lap down, trying to get it back, but Ward Burton deals with him quickly and keeps him 1 lap down. Dave Mader running in that second spot with car number 23. And there's Tommy Houston back to full speed on the outside, trying to get back in that lap.
This is critical to him this early in the race. If he can get that lap back, he can still be a contender later on.
And he's headed for it. 23-time winner in Grand National Racing. That's Tommy Houston on the outside. A family operation back in the lead lap, just barely. Mader stays in front, Burton stays in front, and Dave Mader's Buick has come from 26th position and second out here at the present time. Mike McLaughlin is pitting car number 51 as we watch the back straightaway. Bobby Hillen has come to third. There's McLaughlin's number 51. And for Magic Shoes, doesn't look like it's going to be today.
That's a bad sign when we raise that in the car if they've got a problem in the motor again.
36 laps complete this time by. Mader running in second. Bobby Hillen in that yellow car up of your frame. 03 running back there in third spot. Bobby Hillen getting a lot of work, although he doesn't have a regular ride thus far this year. The word is that might change. Here's Tommy Houston trying to hold on to that tail end position on the lead lap as Jack Ingram on pit road. Here's Houston's car being challenged. Ward Burton trying to put him a lap down.
That one car length right there is worth 1.5 miles if he can stay there. If he can stay there and the caution comes out, he gets a free 1.5 miles of racetrack, and he's going to try his best to stay in front of Ward.
Alabama driver Dave Mader, qualified 26 in the Clint Folsom car, getting closer all the time to number 75.
He's pulling right in behind these guys here.
As they come to the stripe, they've completed 38. 33 car. Ed Barrier moving up on Bobby Hillen. Further back, see him on the outside making a run. Take a look at Bobby Labonte, the number 44 car. Squaring things off, trying to get some running room out here. Champion spark plug in-car camera giving you these pictures down the back straightaway from Bobby Labonte, who came into this event leading the points after 11 races by just 8, simply 8, number 44.
Again, that's the kind of running room a guy doesn't want. It's not a lot of fun to look at that windshield and see a lot of open racetrack. You'd like to be right up on those cars trying to improve that position.
As he plunges into turn number 1, watch the field here. That's still the critical place if you're going to make time. There's the Ironman, Jack Ingram, who stepped away from the car. The many-time champion, Grand National Racing, is standing by with Barney Hall.
Jack, what's the problem?
NASCAR decided to penalize me. I had a flat tire and I couldn't get into my pit. The car that was pitting behind me was already on part in my pit lane. And I turned in and I couldn't, they wanted to penalize me, and that was the second time they've already talked about penalizing me. You can't get into a pit if you can't get in there. So all you're going to do is the best you can. If they're going to penalize you all day, is quit.
Jack Ingram's not happy at all here at Charlotte Motor Speedway this afternoon, Ken Squire.
Jack Ingram. This is his honorary tour to complete a great racing career, and frustrated here this afternoon at Charlotte Motor Speedway as Dave Mader has taken over in first place and Ward Burton falls to second. Here's Mader getting his chance to lead for the first time in his career at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. This guy has a great future in motorsports. He's just a good runner, this Mader.
And I talked to these guys before the race, and they were hoping that it would be hot and sunny and they'd have long green runs. They've got a different tire. They've got a Hoosier tire on that car, and their strength seems to be the long runs, and it's going to be have to see if that thing will stay under.
I couldn't find this guy, but it's reported his crew chief is Freddie Fryer. Is that the Freddie Fryer, the old Baron from Baton Rouge who tore up all those tracks and tore you up a few times?
Ken, you're exactly right. Clint Folsom owns that car out of Birmingham, and Freddie Fryer stays right there in Birmingham and keeps this car up. It was the car Clifford Allison drove at the first of the year, and that thing has got some good equipment and some good people working on it and showing up.
It sure is. He's about to put Houston a lap down. Remember that Burton was up there in the skirmish to do that and couldn't contain him, and here's Mader wheeling around to take the lead. That's at lap 43. Ward Burton second, Bobby Hillen stays third, Ed Barrier's number 33 is fourth, Todd Modine in fifth, Elton Sawyer sixth, and Earnhardt's number 3 back in seventh.
We got Michael Waltrip coming down pit road, and it's certainly unscheduled. They're running around putting right side tires on him now.
That's a bad break for the Pennzoil car. Michael Waltrip, that's the one thing you don't need, is to get out of sync with this field with this very short distance to the halfway mark. 43 moving up toward halfway in the first portion of this Champion Spark Plug 300. Actually, they'll run 102 laps before they flow them in that final sprint of 98. There you see Earnhardt back at work. He's going up under, getting beneath 8th. Alton Sawyer just nipping by car number 30 as it comes out. Green's car number 8 is on pit road from right behind Earnhardt as he goes flying down into turn number 3. The Mac Tools in-car camera with Ernie Irvan giving us these pictures as they wheel out of 4 and come on by.
Ken, Ernie's car is not just exactly like he would like for it to be, because that's a perfect opportunity when someone like Earnhardt drives under another guy and opens the door. You want to stick your foot in that same door and go through with him, and he couldn't get the car down there, but he might be able to move it up on him this lap. He couldn't go at the same time Dale went.
However, Alton Sawyer's car is having its problems, taking a very high line. The door stays plenty open. And down to the inside, number 10, Ernie Irvan, scoots up in there, looking for 7th position. Earnhardt is in 6th. Just behind them.
Got a big piece of trash on that grill right there. Might not be an area where to make it run hot. Can't tell what that is. He's bad to pick up seagulls and birds. It looked like he's got him something else.
I was going to say, it looked a little like a bird on the front of that thing. Winged eagle.
It's not hunting season. He will get a ticket, you know.
Dave Mader stays up in front. Ward Burton in 2nd, now showing 46 laps complete. And Mader is the big surprise. He's just popped up in front after that caution period, and he's driving away from the field. Ernie Irvan in car 10, running in the 8th position. Great crowd out here on this Saturday afternoon. We watch Swerve and Irvan trying to close in on the guy who gave him a break, Dale Earnhardt.
You can bet those breaks are over. You're going to earn what you get the rest of the time, Ernie. Dale's through helping.
It's amazing, though, when you really think back at the number of people that he's helped that have come along down and then made it big. And now that he's said, I like Joe Nemechek, and he always likes the same style, his style. If you don't get out of the way, I'll move you.
Dave Mader up at the front of this pack got a bad break in last year's Busch Grand National Racing. He had a full-time ride for the season, but in a late season crash at New Hampshire Speedway that was not his fault, tore up his race car. He lost that ride, and he's been casting about with different teams since. Good to see him having a great run here for Freddie Fryer. Really hope it leads to big things, because he definitely has the talent to run up front in this division.
Certainly has it going all his way right now, Mike.
Yeah, and Ken, they ran this car at Talladega in the ARCA race for the same people. Freddie Fryer, the mechanic, they were leading the race and ran out of fuel and had a problem, but he was leading the ARCA race at Talladega. They might be a good combination together.
Here you see Mader in front, and the interval back to the blue car is Ward Burton in 2nd. Here's the 97 working. That's Morgan Shepherd on Alton Sawyer. Got trouble in turn number 1. Car looping and sliding and collecting another car, I believe, in the nose. That one took forever.
That's Joe Nemechek.
Nemechek having his 2nd incident of the day. Tears up the right-hand side of that car. Grand National Rookie of the Year. 1990, Nemechek bringing out another yellow at exactly 50 laps.
Ken, it looked like he just exploded a right rear tire. I heard it blow as he went under us here in the tower. And he either ran over something or just lost a tire. It blew out right at the start-finish line.
The replay.
This is the live play, him trying to get back. Here we go. He's already lost the car. The tire blew going through the tri-oval here. Right now, he's sitting on a flat with the right rear quarter panel gone. And boy, I'll tell you, he was lucky. Here's 2 of them splitting around each side of him. And that grass sure looks good at a time like that. Let me get in there and stop this thing.
Fell on the outside. He just had the right sink. We'll be back with more shortly as Dave Mader comes back on to pit road in our live coverage of the Champion Sparkplug 300. Sponsorship to keep him going. He kept Irvan here in California. He's done it at least 4 times.
Again, that's been the case, and you don't have to approach him. He approaches those other people and says, hey, I'll help you if you want to do this. And he kind of volunteers to help.
Let's go to Mike Joy for a Goodyear Eagle racing update.
Ken, it's our first of 2 updates today, and in this first one, we'll tell you about qualifying for major races this weekend. Tomorrow here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, you'll see the Coca-Cola 600 Flag to Flag on TBS, and a new race record in qualifying set by the Ford of Mark Martin. 174.82 miles per hour for Martin on this run. He was the runner-up for the Winston Cup Championship 1 year ago, but this season things have not gone all that well for Martin, crew chief Steve Hamill and Robin Pemberton, and car owner Jack Roush. But Wednesday, they blistered the 1.5-mile quad oval here at Charlotte to the delight of the crowd, getting back on track at 174.82 miles per hour. breaking Kenny Schrader's record of a year ago. Mike Waltrip's Pontiac on the outside pole, then Ken Schrader's Chevy, Sterling Marlin's Ford, and Brett Bodine's Buick. That's 4 different makes in the top 5 for tomorrow's race. Same thing happened in qualifying for Monday's Toyota Trucks Grand Prix at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut. Camel GT qualifying there was paced by Tom Kendall. Driving a Chevy Intrepid, he broke the track record by 2.6 seconds. I thought he must have bypassed the chicane to do it. But he's on the pole. Davy Jones in a Jaguar will line up second. Chip Robinson's Nissan third. Bob Earl qualified for Jeff Brabham, who's at Indy. Brabham will cinch up the seat belts on Monday in the Nissan. And Juan Manuel Fangio in the Toyota will start 5th at Lime Rock on the holiday. Ken?
Mike, I tell you what, it's Tommy Kendall might have went around the chicane, but he's fast when he goes around the proper way. He's good on that road course.
55 laps are down as they come back under green. Racing again after the second caution period in the champion Sparkplug 300 here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And on the break from the point, Dale Earnhardt after that shuffle up in front. Ernie Irvan in there. Down the back straightaway, Todd Bodine third, Morgan Shepherd fourth. They're showing that 30 car as a lap down to that pit stop, Neil.
Yeah, and I didn't see him get behind on that deal either. I could possibly be. Here's Earnhardt trying to hold Tommy Houston. Tommy just keeps plugging away. He's wanting that lap back, and he's working hard. He's having to do it with a different guy every time.
And he's got it with the toughest of them all right now as the Intimidator, number 3, Earnhardt, shows his colors up in front for the first time today. Morgan Shepherd skating high in turn number 1. In that second spot, Irvan running wheel to wheel. And NASCAR scoring is showing Michael Waltrip as a lap down with number 6, Tommy Houston. Taking a look at that running order after 50 laps. We are working the 57th at the present time. We'll take you all the way through the field here so you get to know where the competitor you care about is running on it. We watch Earnhardt plowing away. Got a blown engine. Big time. Getting up to the outside of the track is Bodine in car number 34, and that's going to bring out another caution. Todd Bodine out of Chemung, New York, the second fastest qualifier, currently 5th in points. It's going to take a big drop in Grand National ratings as the engine expires on his car.
I tell you, he was luckily up in the middle of the pack like he was outside far enough. Here comes it back to the lead. Tommy Houston is trying to get Dale back to the line. And let me tell you, that Tommy Houston is Ken Teresa. They might be a little talk on that radio to Dale about Tommy Houston coming back around through there.
Now, what's the relationship?
Hal Houston, who is Dale's father-in-law, and Tommy are kin, and I'm not sure what the relationship is. I know I saw him bump a couple of times, and I was reminded they were kin folks once before. I wouldn't say Dale slowed down and let him by, but Tommy sure made a good move right there.
That sounds like the old days with the Setzers and the Isaacs. Let's take a look again at what happened here as Todd Bodine came down across the line, headed for turn number 1. One motor says good night, nurse.
Just exploded, and luckily he got the car up high. There must not have been a lot of liquid coming out of it, or he'd had cars behind him with a little bit of trouble, but he did the proper thing. He got him. Everybody else says get to the bottom. You don't necessarily need to get to the bottom. You need to run the line you're in and not start moving around the track. You don't need to try to dodge cars. You need to let them go around you. And he can't stay in a straight line, and they were able to miss him. Here's some end cars. See what it looks like. Oh, this is when he lost the tire.
Yep.
With Nemechek. Boy, this was...
That's that Bobby Labonte incident that Mike Joy was alluding to a few moments ago. Indeed, it was Bobby Labonte who made the absolute right move and then was blessed to get through on that spinning car down in turn number 1. Hoffman.
At times, Ken, everybody jokes about him. I sure did a good job with my eyes closed. He didn't have a choice, and that windshield covered up with smoke, and you just kind of poke a hole in that smoke and hope there's nothing on the other side of it.
That's unfortunate for Todd Bodine, who had himself a very good run, and it started on the outside of the front row. Not to be today for Todd Bodine. 59 laps are now complete. We're in the 3rd caution period of the day. I'd like to remind you that at 1 o'clock tomorrow, TBS presents the 31st running of the near $1 million Coca-Cola 600 right here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We hope you're going to be with us. Mark Martin has set a new record for the pole, and Michael Waltrip will be outside of the front row when they settle down for that great contest.
We were talking about Todd Bodine, Ken Squire. Let me tell you, what he did today was nothing short of miraculous. Today is the 9th time he has ever started on a super speedway in his life. This 27-year-old driver is also with a crew chief, Clyde McLeod, who's got lots and lots of experience with modifieds, but very, very little experience with these kinds of cars. Incidentally and importantly, the engine he lost was his backup engine. He lost another engine yesterday afternoon. This struggling young team is racing without a sponsor. The money is very important. It's a tough, tough break for a team that showed so well early in this event.
And you know, he's had when you're talking about the limited number of races he's had on big tracks, he had a 4th at Richmond, came up with a 5th at Darlington. The guy really gets around pretty well, Todd Bodine. So, Clyde McLeod car is out after hoping for its first win in Grand National competition. That's not going to come today here in the Champion Spark Plug 300.
Ken, when they start working with this little V6 engine several years ago, they've really developed them. To start with, they didn't have a lot of power and you didn't have a lot of failures. Now they've got a lot of power with the motors, and you bring them to a big old racetrack like this, and that thing is doing some labor going around a track this size.
Well, that's really the story about parity, is that there's so much work done by these crews in Grand National week in, week out on 6 cylinders, while the Winston Cup guys are playing with the V8s. When they move back in here, they're in foreign territory.
See, the V6 initially was thought that there were going to be no V8s in Winston Cup, and they were coming to the Winston Cup series. And once they saw that the V8s were going to stay in Winston Cup, they passed them down to the Busch Grand National. Now these guys run them week in and week out, and the Winston Cup guys do not have one bit of edge when it comes to these V6 motors.
Take one on the field. Getting ready for a go. Take one on the field. Dale Earnhardt just pulled up beside the pace car and had a little chat last time around as you see them coming down to turn 1.
Last couple of laps, he's been up there rubbing fenders with Elmo driving that car, and he's just playing around. And Earnhardt's going to run into everybody. I guess he figures might as well get the caution car while he's on the caution.
That's what Harry Hyde told one of his drivers to do one time. Remember that they made that into the movie. That actually happened. Remember?
That was Buddy Baker.
Great crowd out today as we get set to go. They're into the second turn area. Lining up on a restart with Earnhardt first, Ernie Irvan in second, Michael Waltrip now trying to make up his lap. Tommy Houston has done just that as that caution flag flew.
Boy, a bunch of good, loyal fans. They came out here in the rain cloud, didn't know if it was going to race or not, and now they're out there with their shirts off enjoying this thing.
Earnhardt first, Irvan second, Waltrip in third. Fourth is Gant, fifth is Shepard, and Schrader. Schrader has come from 33rd position to V6. Hendrick cars really rumbling.
And when I look over now, there's not a Busch driver in the top 5. These guys are working their way to the front. The Busch guys are going to pick up the pace and start taking that lead away again.
But Chuck Bown is in 7th. Defending Grand National champion, number 63, Bown out of Portland, Oregon, is in 7th with Resendez 8th. Jimmy Spencer now in his own car in 9th, and Kenny Wallace runs 10th as they take the flag. Here's Michael Waltrip trying to move around.
We got a car going right up against the wall down 1 and 2. Must have had a flat tire on the restart, but he got it off the wall.
And there's the Wallace car.
Kenny Wallace behind the wall working on the car.
The car's had some trouble today. Bad break for Kenny Wallace, who's also up in the point battle. Car number 36, a black flag, a rear end leak on car 36. And that would be the Kenny Wallace machine we saw down there on pit road, right by Victor's Circle.
That's brake. I don't believe that's oil. That's brake smell.
That's the story. Brake problem on car number 36. From Dick Bergen, we get that report that it may be a brake problem for Wallace.
There's Mike Waltrip trying to get back to a lap where he lost earlier. And maybe he can work with Ernie right there and possibly get around Dale and get that lap back.
And right behind them comes Waltrip in the 17, maintaining 3rd. Earnhardt stays up in front. Dale, why do you like racing in the Busch Grand National cars?
Well, this is where I came from, like I said before, and anytime you can help some of these guys out and, steer them the right way, give them a little bit of advice or whatever, I try to, and I like to see this division grow and be strong, and, the guys are going to come from here and go into Winston Cup, and when they come over there, I want to be able, to race with them, so... it's good to help these guys out. There's a couple of young guys over here that's going to make good drivers and get the right brake. They can do good.
Car number 27 pinned to the wall right down below us here, and that's going to bring out another caution.
Elton Sawyer right up against the wall. We're looking up under Kenny Wallace's car right now, and it's looks like a left rear brake. It might have blown an O-ring out of one of the calipers back there. I saw fluid all over the camera. They possibly shoot brake fluid out of that thing.
Chesapeake, Virginia's Elton Sawyer shortens up his day They've got some problems down there in that pit, and it got a little too warm.
Cameraman better take one step back. It looks rough.
Dick Berggren is there.
Yeah, he sure is. I'm going to try to talk to Kenny Wallace. I'll guarantee you that it's a brake problem because the thing was on fire for a couple minutes. In fact, the fireman got me soaking wet. Brake problem?
Well, I don't know. The car really started dragging really bad, and I had no brakes at all. It's got to be in the rear hubs. I broke a rear end or something like that. I haven't even looked underneath there. I had to get out of the car because it started spraying all kinds of stuff in there. But, man, it's a shame. It's the best I've ever run here. The car was just flying. We had a problem on the pit stop. This wasn't meant to be our day, darn it. We worked for 2 weeks, and this car was really running.
But he's got another shot tomorrow. He's going to run the Winston Cup races. They're trying to put out the fire still under Kenny Wallace's car.
Yeah, he takes over for Kyle Petty tomorrow, the best ride he's ever had in Felix Sabetta's car. Let's take a look again at what happened to Elton Sawyer as he trots across the track.
This is coming off the fourth turn. He's already got smoke up out of the car. Thing is headed straight for the wall. You can already see black marks there. That's not a virgin territory. Everybody around's hit that wall in the last couple of days, but he's really doing the right thing there. He's got it hung on the wall. He's going to drive it on over, grind it to a stop over there. He had a problem before he got in the wall. There was smoke already.
So Elton Sawyer will not win his first one today, and the A.G. Dillard car is being dragged away from the champion Sparkplug 300. More in a moment.
National point leaders and see that they're not faring too well today. Point leader Bobby Labonte narrowly missed the Joe Nemechek crash, got through it okay. He's running. Kenny Wallace is behind the wall with brake trouble. Jimmy Hensley is running. Nemechek exploded that tire, but he's still on the racetrack. Todd Bodine has just fallen out of the race and will join us here shortly. And in the second half of the top 10, Elton Sawyer, the 9th place point man, has just brought out the last caution by grinding his car up against the retaining wall. Not a good day for the regulars. Ken Squire.
Thank you very much, Mike. 68 laps are now complete. 68 down with Earnhardt first, Irvin second, Waltrip third, Gant fourth, Morgan Shepherd, and the big dogs are all up there in those front positions as they were just the last 3 or 4 laps, Neil.
I noticed on the first caution, it seemed like most of the Winston Cup guys came in. On the second caution, they stayed out, and the guys that were leading came in. So it was really a shuffle in the pits. They decided to pit early. There's not been that much passing on the front other than Earnhardt passing a lot of guys. I think it was just a shuffle on the pit stops.
Let's go back and take another look at the problems that have beset Wallace today as they were working on that race car. They're not having much fun down there at all. This was just a moment or two ago. Apparently it flared up a second time. That looks warm.
Ken, the thing, those brake rotors and calipers are so hot that they sit there and they cool it down. It sat there for a minute, and evidently it's leaking either grease or brake fluid out there, and it just set off again. Once the water got the steam got off of it, it got hot again, and it set itself off. I just noticed out of the camera shot they've got a complete another rear end ready to go under the car, so they're going to have to change the entire rear end section.
You know they're running for points. They plan to get out here and pick up whatever they can. We are showing a green flag, I think, about a lap away, just about a lap away. Let's go back down to the pit area right now and get this update.
Here is Todd Bodine, pole sitter, the race of his career, and it's over early. What happened?
Well, something like on the motor. We're not really sure it was. Had no indication it was going to happen, so more than likely it was a part failure of some sort.
Your oldest brother's watching today. I know you'd like to say hi to him.
Yeah, hey, Jeff. Running good.
Recuperating. You'll notice that his uniform is absolutely bereft of sponsor identification. He and the CC team looking for a little help here and a break, but I'll tell you, if you're going to keep running up front like you did today, you're going to get one.
Yeah, we think we can. You know, we got another one next week at Dover. We run good there, so we got another shot.
Okay, that's Todd Bodine.
Second fastest qualifier out, and indeed, it's one lap before we start. Once again, resuming the champion 300. We have had 4 caution periods to date. The record for this race was 8, and that was a year ago, Neil. 8 caution periods in this affair, 29 laps. Hope we aren't going to have that kind of a situation. Need some real racing out here now.
Well, I've been glad to see in 3 and 4, you know, we've had some problems already, but that was the big concern for the drivers, and it seems like they're going to be able to cope with that. These drivers are good enough that if that track gives a problem, they just have to ease through there a little bit better. We're under more control than they normally do. They're just not going to kamikaze the car through that corner like you used to be able to do at this racetrack.
Getting set on a restart. A.B. Allison still very much a part of the field as we come down online and not being shown as part of the top 20. He's actually being shown in 25th rank. Okay, ready to go racing once again. Pace cars in, and here's Michael Waltrip up, knocking on the door of that lead lap. He wants to move that yellow car around, make up his lap. and go looking for the leaders another time. Earnhardt has other ideas. The black number 3 on the inside.
I tell you, Mike is really coming along. You know, he's been running good for a couple of years. He's got a lot of confidence right now, and his ability is really showing. He's a good race car driver.
Number 10, Ernie Irvan in that second spot, who just gets stronger and better. Here he is trying to move in and put Michael a lap further back. The second place car. Waltrip staying right there in third.
Ken, you hit the nail on the head when you said Waltrip staying right there. Darrell Waltrip is in about third place, and you usually just see him pace himself and pace himself. If he's able to run this good early in the race, he'll be tough when it comes down the end.
And right behind him is car number 7. There's your story. There's Harry Gant, and he's fresh from that great victory that he experienced at Talladega, that amazing mileage. And he has come in here all perked up and ready to put on a great show.
If these two guys think it's close to the end of the race, we never see them for 20 laps to go.
Patience is a virtue, PIV. Right behind Gant in the number 7 car lies Morgan Shepherd, who's won this thing on a couple of occasions. And following Morgan is Schrader and then Chuck Bound. And the man who was a rocket yesterday in the consolation race was Schrader. There's Morgan Shepherd's number 97. It's your 5th place car. Settling in here. Go the distance in the first half of the race. Just behind him, in that 6th position, would be the black number 15. Schrader, lap car in between them as they come across the stripe.
The car was looking at Morgan Shepherd as a Ford. There's just not many Ford V6 engines around. He has one there. Jeff Gordon runs one of them. They're working on that motor. They just haven't got enough of them available yet, but they're running good with them once they do have.
Tom Peck looking good, but he is a lap down in the 96, the McConnellsburg, Pennsylvania campaigner in the Thomas Oldsmobile, currently showing 8th in points and about to go a lap down to Schrader as he rockets along through the field. And Waltrip is playing his usual game, Neil. There's nothing unusual about this at all. He's willing to wait.
Well, everything looks normal here. Here's Earnhardt, who likes to lead. He's leading. There's Mike Waltrip trying to get a lap back. Here's Ernie Irvan wanting to get up there and mix it up with Dale, so he's going to have to work on little Mike to get around there to get to Dale first on it. Mikey is not going to give that position up easy.
Jimmy Spencer, who stepped back in for Jeff Burden, who started his car, is running up in the 6th position in the 45 car. Look a little further back. Mike Wallace is 9th. Jimmy Hensley is 10th. And Terry Labonte is now in 11th. Darrell Waltrip stays a steady 3rd. What's the key to winning this race, Darrell?
If you don't have any bad luck, that's the big thing. A flat tire that gets you behind. They got the pit rules here where you can only change tires under the green. You can only change 2. So not have any bad luck and get a lap down, and then have good pit stops. That seems to be the key to stay up front with all the good cars, and you won't have any problems.
It's about 23 laps to when they'll throw the caution over the field, and we'll be halfway in this event. Intermission time. And after a 15-minute break, they'll wind him up with that sprint to the finish.
Again, I think we just hit on why we're seeing Darrell right there where he's at. He used to be content to stay back there and pace along, but track position has meant so much. We've seen so many wrecks here lately that running the car a little harder than you might want to be up front to avoid some of these accidents. He's running the car a little bit harder than you usually see Darrell do it this early in the race.
Staying 3rd, and Gant just back behind him. From Ernie Irvan's Mac Tool in-car camera. And the helicopter is having to fly so low with the overcast situation that we have here at Charlotte today. Those pictures get a little crackly.
We might just be able to take the shot straight out of the helicopter if it gets any lower.
Back straightaway. Earnhardt by 2 car lengths over the lapped car of Michael Waltrip. A lot of people think that Michael Waltrip is the smart ticket for tomorrow's race if you're trying to pick one.
I'm telling you, his car has been flying since they've been here. And as I said earlier, Mike Waltrip has got a lot of confidence right now. And there's nothing I'd rather see than Chuck Ryder and his family get a win. They certainly need one.
Chuck and Pat Ryder, the sport. And their number 30 has been running well today, but finds himself flat down, doing a little making up here. Earnhardt not cooperating. So it's Earnhardt's race for the moment as we come to the 80-lap mark, this time by, with Irvan in 2nd, Waltrip in 3rd, and Harry Gant in 4th.
Plastic and vinyl. And it protects all those surfaces, too. So Armor All makes your car look like new and helps it last longer. And that makes you look pretty smart. Armor All, it keeps you looking good.
The champion Sparkplug 300 here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Here's how they're running. Dale Earnhardt is out in front. He has about a 7-car length advantage over Ernie Irvan in second spot. Darrell Waltrip has pulled himself to third. Harry Gant has come from 25th up into fourth, and Morgan Shepherd from 13th to the 5th position after 82 laps. Here's Earnhardt showing the lead. We are now working lap 85. Average speed, a very slow 119 miles an hour. The slowest champion race was the 1981 Morgan Shepherd win at 115 miles an hour. They're right down on that level now, the way things have been going to these caution flags.
Ken, the average speed is down, but these guys are really cranking out some good laps right now. The track's cooling down a little bit. We've got a little bit overcast, and they're starting to turn some real good numbers. They'll pick that speed back up.
That overcast is great for those race cars, terrible for those in-car cameras. Here's that number 3 by 8-car lengths over Ernie Irvan in the second spot. And Waltrip has settled back a little. Looks like he's not too anxious to go up there and mix it up for the finish on the first half of the race.
He tried to make a run on Ernie earlier, and he was working the car real hard. And it looks like he just decided, well, I'm going to sit right here till they get halfway. There's good money at halfway.
$5,000.
Yes, there's good money there, and they wanted to try it. If it's going to work your car too hard, they'll just wait and try it in the second half.
Here's Dick Berggren.
Well, Ken, usually we time pit stops with stopwatches. It's only a few seconds, but the next one, that's just a caution between now and then, is going to last a full 15 minutes. They're going to give them a 15-minute break. They're not going to be able to do a tremendous amount to the cars here. They're going to be able to change 4 tires under this break, as opposed to the 2 that they usually get under a caution flag. You can change the wedge in the car, you can change little things like that, but they can't change springs. They can't make any major adjustments to the car. Can't change the anti-roll bar. A lot of the teams are just going to try to cool it, stay where they are, make whatever changes they can, and then go out and bonsai the second half of this thing. I see him, don't worry.
$88 laps complete. 88 laps down, coming around for 89 this time. Remember, 100 will make the distance for the first part of the race, and then there's a couple of laps under caution. Friends of yours?
Race fans. Nice to have race fans around supporting us like that.
Earnhardt first, Irvan second, Waltrip third, Gant fourth, Morgan Shepherd fifth. And Spencer, driving that number 45 car that Burton started, is in the 6th position. Schrader's in 7th. And it looks to me like a waiting game. They're willing to give Earnhardt $5,000.
Well, I think they're realizing how hard they're going to work to get the $5,000 back away from him. He came up through there. He was able to assert himself, take the lead. When somebody can do that, it's going to be hard to pull up there and take it back away from him.
After the problems he's had for the past week, averaging 161 miles an hour right now, is Earnhardt going to be the player tomorrow?
He'll certainly be a factor in the middle of it.
Davey Allison in car number 28 is having his problems. Car number 28 eases on pit road. That's unfortunate for the Haviland team. Davey Allison looks like it's over a little early. He'll be going a lap down with this pit stop. He's never won a Grand National race. He had started in 16th, moved to the front. He's going right back to the garage. It's over for Davey Allison, and he'll have to just bite his tongue and get ready for tomorrow's race and hope that the 600 comes around after that amazing weekend that he had this past weekend.
In these front 4 leaders, sure, there's a lot of good track time and there's good money at stake here, chance to show off for their sponsors. But Neil Bonnet, what does it do to you when you've got to go 600 miles on Sunday to be out here in the heat, hammering on it for 300 miles more? I mean, is Certainly, it's a prudent decision fiscally, you know, in the pocketbook, but is it really the right thing to do if you want to be in prime shape for Sunday's race?
Mike, I've had a lot of people say, what kind of training can I do with Nautilus equipment? What kind of jogging? What do I do to work out for racing? The best way to do it is climb in one of these cars. There's nothing that simulates that racing like driving one of these cars. These guys are plenty capable running today and then jumping in there tomorrow. Good night's sleep tonight and then going after it again tomorrow. So if anything, I feel like it's good training. The more you run, the better you feel.
Let's go to Dick Berggren, who is standing by with Davey Allison.
Davey just unhooked the seatbelts. You're in the garage area. What happened?
I think the battery went dead, and we noticed right off the start of the race that the alternator wasn't working, and motor started missing real bad. Up here in turn 1 just in, and it shut off. So I'm going to get out and check it out.
These guys are not in it for the points. They're in it for the win. They got no chance to win. They're parked.
Best run was a third at Daytona earlier this year. Really had hopes that this one was going to set them up for another great weekend, but this one doesn't work out. Riding with Ernie Irvan. He's in second spot. He's chasing the lap car, the yellow car of Mike Waltrip. But what he's really chasing, you can just see it up there in your frame. Going to turn number 1 is that black number 3. Earnhardt continuing to be the leader, seeking his 16th Grand National victory.
At the same time he's chasing those cars, right on his back bumper, Darrell is putting the heat on again a little bit more than he has been in the past. He's really working on him, trying to get back around him.
To the STP pit center, here's Mike.
And here's Elton Sawyer, who ground up a bit of his car against the wall up there. What happened, Elton?
Well, I'm not real sure, Mike. Something broke on the front end of the car and just turned right and put the Gwaltney Buick right in the fence.
He came in here 9th in the point standings. Sure didn't need this.
No, we sure didn't. We had a pretty good run going, too. You know, we elected not to stop on the first caution. And, you know, we stayed out there and we got to race with Dale and them guys. But our car was a little tight. We needed to get in halfway, make an adjustment. I thought we would have had something, but not to be today.
Well, it'll be a long ride back to Virginia, but he'll have another shot at them next Saturday at Dover Downs, Delaware.
He is some good racer out of Chesapeake, Virginia. Currently 9th in the points, Elton Sawyer, who does move on to Dover for the next big NASCAR weekend of racing with Winston Cup and Grand National. That's coming up next on the calendar. We're down towards that halfway mark. 97 laps this time around. 97 this time by for Earnhardt in first, Irvan in second, Waltrip third, Gant fourth. Among those regulars in the Grand National ranks, Jimmy Hensley is now in 7th. Ward Burton is 8th. Chuck Bown has dropped back to 11th. He had been as high as 7th.
I tell you, it looks like for one of the Busch guys that's up in the points battle, a good finish here is going to go a long way because, as Mike Joy said earlier, we're losing a lot of the top guys in points, so just a good finish means a lot.
Neil, age and experience seem to be paying off in the first half.
Well, I tell you, you know, they worked their way to the front better than I thought they would. You know, when you see the big numbers that these Busch guys threw up there on the racetrack, I felt like it'd be hard for the Winston Cup guys to get up there. But, you know, the pit crews, everything enters into this thing and who's in the position they're in. We still got a long way to go. And after this timeout, I'm sure these guys will regroup and be right back in the hunt.
So we're almost at that midway mark, and then it's that break. And there is a little work you can do on the car, but really not that much. I'd like to see him be able to do more work so that those guys that are a little off could get up here and challenge.
Close the pace up. That's what we need.
Neil, I think one reason those fellas got to the front so quickly, not easily but quickly, is they were willing to work together. We saw in the first 20 laps where the Winston Cup guys would hook up together and draft and go to the front. Well, it looked like some of the Busch Series regulars, instead of working together in a draft, were more willing to race against one another. And these fellas just kept marching right along, and here they are.
Mike, you're exactly right. And when somebody sees a guy like Earnhardt coming, when you're drafting and going to the front, it's like climbing a ladder. You go to the next rung on the ladder. And when one of the Busch guys even sees Earnhardt passing, well, they jump in behind him and they follow him to the next car. Well, they're actually drafting and helping and pushing him. And he gets the advantage of them knowing he's fast. They follow him along, and then he drops them off and picks up the next guy. So they're actually gaining help all the way up through from the rear to the front.
So we're coming around, and I believe this is where we'll put out the caution. It'll bring the field down at the halfway mark. Halfway is up, yellow flag is out, and coming to the line, Earnhardt is there. Irvan is second, Waltrip is third. Michael Waltrip still a lap down, and we'll be back to talk to some of these champions about their experiences in the first half right after these messages.
If only your tires could talk.
It's so tiring. He babies the car, then abuses me with messy vinyl cleaner. Hey, I'm rubber. No-touch tire care. Ooh, nice foam.
Introducing No Touch Tire Care, the first product to clean, shine, and protect tires in one easy step. No scrubbing, no dirty rags, no mess.
Yeah, clean and...
NASCAR Grand National Race at the 1.5 mile Charlotte Motor Speedway. With Neil Bonnet, I'm Ken Squire. Down trackside today, Barney Hall is with us, Mike Joy, Dick Berggren, Ken Stabler all along as we get ready for the second half of this race and the Coca-Cola 600, which you'll be seeing live on TBS tomorrow. We are down to a 13:49 before they turn them loose. And let's go down to Barney Hall.
Kenny Wallace's crew is really having to put in some overtime, so to speak. Now here at the car right now, they're cutting that left rear hub completely out. They had to take a torch and cut it off. That brake exploded a moment ago in there, dumped fluid all in the machine, and heated it up and just seized everything up. Now they've got a rear end right here that they could put underneath the car. But the NASCAR inspectors came over and took a look at it and said, that is an aluminum rear end. It is illegal. If they could put this rear end in the car, it would have been about a 20-minute job. As it is, it's anybody's guess as to how long it'll take to cut that hub off and completely replace the hub a piece at a time, the brake lines and everything else. So, boy, they're going to have to get paid some overtime for what they're doing here this afternoon. And meanwhile, Kenny Wallace just standing here totally frustrated. Let's go back to Ken.
Barney, that rear end right there is also a quick change rear end, aluminum quick change, which is illegal in this division. And I'm not sure they could get that out of the car. That rear pantry bar would hit in a different place and all that. They could probably get it under there, but I'm sure NASCAR is not going to let them. It's illegal in this division.
So while Kenny Wallace tries to hold on to something in that point battle he's having here in the NASCAR Grand National ranks, let's go down for a Goodyear Eagle mid-race report from Mike Joy.
Well, Ken Squire, what a battle this has been here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The folks are certainly getting their money's worth at 102 laps. That's midway. 5 lead changes among 4 drivers. Average speed slowed by those caution flags to 125.8 miles per hour. The 4 cautions have lasted for 21 laps, and 5 drivers are out of the race. Phil Parsons was the first of those drivers to exit. He went out very early with vibration problems. We've talked to Todd Bodine and to Phil Parsons, or to Todd Bodine rather, and Elton Sawyer among the other drivers who have dropped out of the race. That's our Goodyear Eagle mid-race report. Let's go back upstairs.
Which has been presented by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, maker of Goodyear Eagles, the choice of every team and every driver at every Winston Cup race. And here in this Grand National event at the halfway mark, we have about 11 minutes remaining, and Barney Hall has an update for us again on pit road.
Standing here with Dale Earnhardt, who's just sitting in the car having a cup of Gatorade here to kind of cool down. Dale, everything seems to be going your way pretty well.
The car's working awful good. You know, we came up through there pretty good. Got by everybody with pretty much racing, no trouble. Michael's been trying to get his lap back, and we've been having a pretty good race there. But who knows? He might get it back here this next 100.
What are they doing to your car? Do you need to do anything to it? The way it's been working, I would think not a whole lot.
We just put tires on. I think we'll be okay.
Dale Earnhardt just kind of laid back, taking it easy, Ken, and he should be, because the way he's been running, I think I'd be all smiles, too.
Well, you know, Barney, there's a problem in that when you put those tires on. Michael Waltrip had an absolutely phenomenal run out here the other day, came in and just changed tires, and he backed up. It went right away. Just a change of a set of tires made all the difference and made Michael Waltrip a non-feature in that battle in the $1 million Winston race this past weekend here at Charlotte.
Ken, I bet you these guys are really being, the ones that got the cars like they want them, they're going to make sure they got a good set just exactly like the ones they took off. And the ones that are off are going to be working around with them a little bit.
There's Michael Waltrip's number 30, a few tire marks from some 170 mile per hour skirmishes on the straightaways here. And there's Michael walking out, cooling off a bit before he goes back to work in the second half, tries to get that lap back and tries to become a major part of this Champion Spark Plug 300. We'll be back with more of the story of this great race live here on TBS. And don't forget tomorrow, the Coca-Cola 600. It's right here.
Here chatting with Harry right now. Harry, you just told me a moment ago you're doing all you can do and you don't seem to be able to knock Earnhardt out of the front.
No, I was gradually losing a little bit of ground to him. You know, we was running hard as we could run in the Skoal Bandit Buick. Just not quick enough today. You know, we'd like to be fortunate enough to finish the next segment in the top 5. I'll be happy.
If he keeps running like he is, can anybody do anything with him at all?
I don't really think so. The sun was out a while ago. We all got loose, and the sun went in, and a lot of cars picked up speed. The sun comes back at it, may change a little bit, but it looks like Earnhardt's got the best car right now.
Thoughts of Harry Gant as he sits here? You heard him say he'd be happy with the top 5, so apparently Earnhardt is strong.
Gant knows how to win on this racetrack. He's won here in the 500. He's won in this Grand National competition. Kenny Stabler standing by with another of the major players. He's trying to get to Michael Waltrip here.
Michael, you're down a lap. Can you get your car back around and catch up with Earnhardt, get the lap back?
That's a good question. You know, we've run right even with him, but his car seems to be perfect, and mine was a little off. And it's hard to pass if you got your car right, and we're just not quite right. We adjusted some things on the car, wedge and stagger. That's about all you can do, and we're ready to race.
How's the track conditions up in 3 and 4?
Perfect. You know, my car will go low better than high, and so I run underneath all the bumps. I hardly even know they're there.
He's going after him. Go get him, bud.
Get him going.
Mikey's ready, I can tell.
Yeah, well, he's got, and the interesting thing is, down on pit road, everybody's working except one car sits all by itself. Car number 3 is up there. Earnhardt's all buckled in, probably having a nap, just getting ready.
That's a bad sign. They put 4 tires on it and shoved him down at the end of the pit road. And I think he's down there arguing with Elmo Langley about bumping him around on the caution laps.
Well, oh yes, there's part of the halftime. Let's go to Barney Hall.
The gentleman we talked to in the open early this afternoon, Kenny Schrader, is sitting here. Kenny, this car is really coming up through the field. I don't see a mark on it, don't see a wheel mark, so everything must be going pretty well.
Well, we've been trying to be pretty careful, Barney. We were going forward there for a long time. We kind of backed up the last 20 laps, but we made quite a bit of chassis adjustments, and I think we'll be better.
Harry Gant just said that Earnhardt's got this race locked up if he keeps running like he is. He said he'd be happy with a top 5 finish. I know you don't feel that way.
Well, you know, top 5, it's, you know, I'd rather win this thing, but we're not giving it to Earnhardt yet, by no means.
Kenny Schrader, you heard him say he's going after him when they put this thing back under green, Ken.
Thank you, Barney. The U.S. Air Force Reserve Commander's Performance Award was given out yesterday by Colonel John Winston of the U.S. Air Force Reserve to a very well-known team, and let's get that story now.
Thank you. I'm real pleased to be here at Charlotte Motor Speedway today. With me is Barry Dodson, the crew chief on Mickey Gibbs's car. We at Air Force Reserve selected Barry and his team to receive this Commander's Trophy in recognition of the fact that they ran the Air Force colors at Daytona. We think that was a super recognition of the folks in the desert.
Thank you very much, Colonel. On my behalf and Team 3, we were very honored and very proud to carry the Air Force colors in this year's Daytona 500 and come home with the top 20 finish. Thanks.
Barry Dodson, one of the nicest guys in the business, and I hope that team finally gets their colors flying.
I sure do. They've had problems here the last couple of weeks. They've lost a couple of cars, but they're in the 600, and hopefully they can have a good finish tomorrow.
So the clock now shows 4 minutes until we crank him up again. Here's Dick Bergman.
And I'm with young Jeff Gordon. He's a teenager, 19 years old, but you had a big night in Indianapolis last night.
Yeah, you know, we had a great night. We went up to Indianapolis Fairgrounds, and car was just working great. You know, we had a brand new beast car, and the guys did a good job up there, and I'd just like to thank them. We ended up winning it.
That's a beast dirt champ car, very different than this automobile, and you're going to go back to Indianapolis tonight?
Yeah, we got a midget race there night before the 500 that I've won the last 2 years in a row. We're going to try to do it a third time, but right now we're concentrating on this race. It's a big race for us, and, you know, we're not running too bad. We actually planned to run good at the end, and we knew we weren't going to run good at the beginning, so we're still working at it.
Now, there's a teenager for you. Barney?
There you see the number 1 Ford. That's Jeff Gordon. And this guy is a racer. That's in the grand old tradition of Neil Bonnet and the rest of them. He'll run anytime, and it's like Waltrip when he began. Remember, he used to run Talladega, go home to Owensboro, Kentucky to run at night, then come back and qualify, and go up to Nashville and run the next. He's going back and forth to Indianapolis like that. Wins last night on the mile at the fairgrounds. Back here today to race this afternoon. Back to Indianapolis tonight to race midgets at Indianapolis Raceway Park.
Ken, I tell you what, that was a legitimate question Mike Joy had a while ago about running today and how he felt tomorrow. But when you're at the age of this young man right here, you can run every night of the week, and then we're getting in here and run 600 miles tomorrow, and then be looking for a race on Monday. I tell you what, he's doing a great job, and anything he gets in, he wins. So he certainly, I feel like he'll be a big factor in this type of racing in a few years.
I'll look there at the cars out of the race. We mentioned some of them earlier. Parsons, McLaughlin, Jack Ingram out, perhaps for the last time here at Charlotte. Bodine, Davey Allison, and Sawyer. Fellas, didn't we just see this same race 6 days ago in the Winston? Davey Allison ran to the halftime break. They looked at the car, they wiped it off, put a little tape on the grill, set of tires, went out there and dusted the field. Today is an Earnhardt trying to take a page from that book and do the exact same thing.
Yeah, it does look a little like that, except the number is 3, as you say, rather than 28 a weekend ago.
Mike, again, you know, when you see a guy do that, the cars, you can't, when it's to the point where you can't make a change, it's pretty darn good. You see somebody like Schrader, as good a driver as he is, he said, we made a lot of changes. Did you make the right changes? I don't care how good you are, you're guessing when you start cranking those wedge bolts, and hopefully that you got it right. But if they hit on it, they got a chance to catch you.
There you see who's won here before. 8 Pontiacs have come into victory lane, 3 Oldsmobiles, a Chevrolet, and a Buick. Right now, it's all Chevy, the top 3, Earnhardt, Urban, and Waltrip. 1, 2, and 3. Darrell, I'm speaking of. Again, Michael is on the outside, and hope they've come up right as far as the tires and the change they've made on their car. But over-massaging is what can set you back just as much as overdriving.
We're looking through Labonte's car here, and we just saw him snatch on the steering wheel, reach around. There's a safety pin that holds that wheel in there, and they can do anything they want to do those cars. That driver checks that pin. We had an incident here the other day in practice for the 600 out of Australia. A guy out of Australia left the pin out. Alan Grice, and lost the car. I mean, totally destroyed the car.
170 miles an hour. He had the steering wheel come off in his hands on the back straightaway.
And after something like that happens, you see all these guys pay a little bit more attention to that wheel.
About 30 seconds before they crank him up, here's Dick Berggren.
Now, Dave Rezendes' car is going to be put in the penalty box, apparently. NASCAR has decided some of the work that they did underneath the hood of that car was not proper during this break. Recall when we set this break up, we told you there were only a few things that could be done. Apparently, Rezendes and team did some things NASCAR said they weren't allowed to do, so they're going to make him sit. They're going to take him behind pit wall, and that's where Rezendes goes now.
Some people just can't take a joke, and they're going to penalize you for doing things you want to do to your little race car.
Now, you never got caught doing anything like that. Is that because you were a slicker, or?
Well, they just didn't have a penalty box when I was racing. About the time I quit, I had to get out of the car. They put the penalty box in, or I'd have spent a little bit of time in there.
All right, fields away. We're ready to go in the second half. 102 laps are officially completed. 98 to go. They raced out to the 100-lap mark, then 2 laps under caution, slowing them down and getting them on pit road, and now we're ready to go back to work to decide this $259,000 race. And one thing for sure, that fall Grand National race is going to be worth a fair amount of money to the pole sitter. As you recall, Jack Sprague was on the pole today, and he has become a non-factor at this point in the race. If a driver wins the pole and this 300-miler prior to the Winston Cup race at Charlotte, it's worth $20,000. And if the pole sitter doesn't pull it off, it rolls over to the next event. So the All-Pro Auto Parts 300 in October, you can sit on the pole and win it. Tempt you to get back. I can see you're getting a little edgy here, Neil. It's $40,000 extra dollars. Never mind what's in it.
That certainly gets everybody's attention. I'd go back if I had to pay the $40,000 the doctors have left me.
Running order after the first half of the event, all the way through the field for you. And the attrition thus far looks like this. Phil Parsons, Mike McLaughlin, Jack Ingram, Todd Bodine, Davey Allison, and Elton Sawyer. 6 cars retired from the event. Pace car bringing them by. It'll take one and fire them up to racing speed. 1.5-mile track, 24-degree banks. We're just about set for the second half of the Champion Spark Plug 300.
Neil's engines that are used, smaller engines in, say, the sports car circuits and even Indianapolis, are very subject to heat cycles. You fire them up, you run them a while, you let them cool down, and there's a limit to how many times you can do that before the engine really starts to go away. Having shut these engines off for 15 or 20 minutes, will it make much difference?
Mike, Joey, I was sitting there thinking the same thing you are. The biggest thing that's changed lately is when we used to have the cast iron cylinder heads on all our engines. We have to run production cylinder heads. You shut those down and crank them back up, and it usually get a crack in the head. You'd pump a little bit of water through and run hot. But now every car on this racetrack has aluminum cylinder heads, and it's virtually eliminated that problem. The blocks in these things are big Siamese, a lot of steel, a lot of water jacket, so we don't have that problem like we used to. You can shut them down, crank them over and over and over, and get away with it. Used to, when you took a set of cast iron heads off, they cracked immediately when you took them off. Thank goodness the factories went to work, got these aluminum heads, and it shouldn't be any problem.
With the exception of the bottom 6 rows, packed grandstand here today in the main area of the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and the biggest infield I've ever seen here, Neil. I've never seen it packed like this on Saturday. Sunday, well, that's another story, but today, this is immense. All right, we're down to it with Earnhardt first, Urban second, Waltrip third, Gant fourth, Morgan Shepherd fifth, Jimmy Hensley's Oldsmobile is sixth, and Ward Burton is in seventh. Jimmy Spencer is eighth, and Ken Schrader's Chevy, number 15, is running in the 9th position. Light is off on the pace car. Now, these 2 laps are counting, showing 1:04. They'll take it on 1:05 to really get up to speed.
Got a car coming back down pit road.
Yeah, that's that Resendez car that was in the penalty box for a while.
And they're sending him back behind the wall.
Try to get a report on that one for you.
Sometimes if you argue with them, you get to go back again, and that might be the case.
Yeah, that's a no-win. There's 39. There's Robert Huffman. Remember, he fell out midway through the first half. And now he's back on pit road, and they've got the hood up on it as he tries to get out here and score some points after he won in a sportsman race out here at Charlotte earlier today.
Well, I tell you, they've got the 79. I'll have to get it straight here in a minute back there, and I think it's a stop and go behind the wall, which I've never seen that. They went behind the wall and just turned them around, but the problem is the pace car is coming off, and I imagine he'll have to follow out behind the pack of cars as they take the green here.
Yeah, that might be a penalty for coming on pit road too quickly. I'm not too sure. Here we are, back underway. Field is away in the final segment of the Champion Spark Plug 300, and on that break, see the number 30 trying to get that lap back. Michael Waltrip trying. See what happens in 3.
I didn't really understand what Dale said when he kind of snickered and he said Mikey might get it back this time. I don't know if he was running the car harder than he wanted to the last time or not. He might be willing to let him go now.
Look how loose they are in 3 and 4. And for the moment, Michael Waltrip has it back, but not by a full car length.
And there he doesn't have it back. Back and forth. Ernie Irvan's got a great view right here. If we can keep the helicopter out of the clouds, we're in good shape. They're side by side. Side by side here.
Back straightaway. Boy, Michael's giving it everything he's got to make that lap up. What a great run. He seems to work a little better in 3 and 4 than he does in 1 and 2.
That little donut on the 30 number there, he's up there flirting with another one on the side of that thing. He might get a match set before this is over. That's the first time Ernie has been able to get up there behind Dale. It's going to be interesting to see. He was all over Mikey, but he couldn't get to Dale. Now it's going to be interesting to see if he's got enough to work on Dale.
So here comes that back tool in-car camera, closing on the back straightaway. Going down into turn number 3. Earnhardt in first, Urban in second. Look at those cars skate. That's incredible. Picking them up at 170 miles an hour and down the main straightaway.
What people don't realize, Ken, he was turning left and going right. You go in that corner, you make the turn down in there. The car actually 4-wheel drifts up the wall. That was a great shot. The wheel turn left, car making about a 30-foot slide up the bank, and then it hooks up and you take off down the other direction.
Right behind the 17th. Morgan Shepherd in number 97 has his hands full. The 7-car Harry Gant is right behind Walter. Then Morgan Shepherd. There he is in the 97. And look at Jimmy Hensley in 25. One of the Grand National regulars getting in here to mix it up a little bit.
Now to the inside with Ernie Irvan. And if Darrell can get up there with Michael, maybe he can push his brother around Dale Earnhardt. It doesn't look like anybody's going to have much luck with that right now.
Ken, I was just thinking when we were sitting there listening to Harry Gant, you know, Harry was slid down in the seat, all looked like he was heartbroken. He said, boy, I'm just going to be lucky to finish in the top 5, and it seemed like he's stronger than ever right now. When you hear Harry say that, you better be ready for him to challenge for the lead.
Here comes Morgan Shepherd, number 97, inside of Harry Gant in number 7. Number 97 on the bottom of the racetrack, and with him comes Jimmy Hensley in the 25. A lap on Huffman as they go down the back straightaway. Here's the 97. Morgan Shepherd there. Harry Gant next. Then Hensley, Ward Burton back to the bottom, and Hensley's picking up another spot. Jimmy Hensley's having a very fine ride in the early going to the second half.
We didn't hear that much from him in the first part, but he's really coming up through there now in this second section. He must have made a change that really helped him.
Here he is. He's underneath Gant, and he is away. He's ready to go searching for those racers up in that front block, which are Earnhardt, Urban, Waltrip, and Shepherd. Jimmy Hensley out of Ridgeway, Virginia, closing up on that group in car number 25.
Here goes Morgan Shepherd around the outside of Darrell in the middle of 3 and 4, where it's supposed to be so bad. He made a good move right there.
Let's get this report from Kenny Stabler.
Yeah, Ken, we're here with defending champion Rusty Wallace. Rusty, can the Penske car make it 2 in a row?
I think so. We're really handling well. That's a key thing here at the 600. Durability is a big thing. It's a long race, and you got to have handling, good pit stops. I get people ask me all the time, how do you win a 600? I said, well, I've won it, and we did everything right that day. You know, everything was perfect. The car handled good pit stops, good horsepower. And man, you got to stay out of the accidents. We got one thing that's different this year, the radial tire from Goodyear. It's a great tire. It's real consistent. So I don't know if pit stops will be as frequent as they were before or not. We'll have to see.
Have you seen anything out there that'll help you today that'll help you tomorrow?
Well, it's pretty hot out today. We're putting a cool suit in our car right now to keep me real nice and fresh for 600 miles. I think a real fresh driver do more than an ill-handled car will.
Rusty Wallace trying to make it 2 in a row here.
A lot of those drivers are giving up on cool suits, but not Rusty Wallace. 600 miles tomorrow here on TBS beginning at 1 o'clock. Earnhardt flashes across the line in first. Second is Urban in the number 10 car. Then comes the lap car of Michael Waltrip, followed by Morgan Shepherd. The 97 is third. Darrell Waltrip is fourth. And a guy who 3 times has been the Grand National runner-up, Jimmy Hensley, continues to make war and now pulls himself to fourth as he gets around Waltrip.
Inside your...
We're at lap 117, and a leading part of the story, Michael Waltrip is easing onto pit road and right behind the wall with the right side of his car bashed in as he tried to tear down the concrete up here in turn number 4 a lap ago. It's over for Michael Waltrip in the Pennzoil car number 30.
Kenny was really getting aggressive to get that lap back and running the car as hard as he possibly could. The car broke loose coming off the 4th turn, and he really squared that thing up on the wall and did a good job to keep straight.
Lucky to save it.
Because he was right in the middle of some of the real fast cars.
Well, the story up in front, Earnhardt is in first. In second, Urban about 20 car lengths back, then Shepherd in third. But the biggest story of all is Jimmy Hensley, 3-time Grand National runner-up, including a year ago. His best Charlotte finish goes way back to 1973. In October of 73, he came here and finished 4th. This is his 20th Charlotte start. And right now, number 25, Jimmy Hensley, is just having a great run. For more on his story, let's go to the STP Pit Center. Here's Mike Joy.
Well, Ken, Neal was asking earlier, where had Jimmy been all race? Well, toward the back. He had trouble in qualifying, only managed 163 miles an hour, started out back in 29th position, and couldn't hook up with those Winston Cup drivers that drafted together going up to the front. But Hensley is third in points. He already has a victory this season, and now steadily, methodically, he's made his way there. He's the only one in the top 5 in the Busch points up near the front, and he's going to be a player in this thing.
Indeed he is, Mike. That victory was on a track that kind of favors the Hensley style, Martinsville. He loves those half miles, and he had a second at Hickory as well. But for the moment, Jimmy Hensley in 4th place on this super speedway looks like he was born to this kind of high-speed racing. Look at him closing up on Morgan Shepherd. Jimmy Hensley, with all of your experience in all those years, what's the most important thing you've learned?
A lot of
things I probably have learned, I really don't realize I've learned. You just have to be at your peak now just about every race, and I think from experience-wise, you know, I can get up for the race and try to get the car as best possible shape, you know, we can. And I think that's the main thing, just what I've learned over the years, you know, try to put it to race situations.
Well, he's put it right up among the leaders, and here he is challenging Morgan Shepherd on the inside. It is Hensley moving through. Shepherd, the two-time winner of the event, falling back, and Hensley moves up into third, ready to challenge Ernie Irvan, then go looking for Dale Earnhardt. Jimmy Hensley out of Ridgeway, Virginia, having a whale of a run. Looks like Shepherd may be in some kind of a problem on that outside line. Here again is Hensley as Shepherd came back up on him for a moment. Shepherd's not giving up in this fight.
No, that Morgan passed on the outside while we went around Darrell Waltrip on the high side of the racetrack. So his car's working good there. You're looking at two cars running different lines, and it's hard to do it up there where Morgan's at. So his car's working good high.
Morgan backed up in that last lap, and for just a moment it would seem as though that car wasn't working in that line. Maybe it works better a little higher. Oh, no, down in 1 and 2. Here's Hensley back another time. The Beverly Olds, Don Beverly, the drag racer, owns that car. Bobby King is the crew chief on it. And look at this scramble that continues for third place. Morgan's back.
I tell you what, his car works good getting down in the corner and up high. A lot of the cars, when they go through the areas, skate up the track real close to the wall. Morgan's able to keep his car there. Once he sets it, it stays in the middle of the track.
125 laps are complete. Here's Dick Berggren with Michael Waltrip.
Well, you rearranged the sheet metal. How'd you do it?
Well, my car's just been pushing ever since the beginning, and we worked on it at the break and thought we could get it better, but it's still pushed, and I just come off 4 a little high and got into those bumps, and it just bounced me right into the outside wall. Mistake on my part. I just got a little too high. Felt like we needed to try to get our lap back, and Ernie had began to slip a little bit, so I was charging to try to do away with him, but messed up. Earnhardt's going to be awful tough to beat. He's looking real good. When I was following him, I was a little off, and I still couldn't do anything with him, so he looks perfect. He'll be hard to beat.
Think anybody could do anything with Earnhardt?
Well, I just, Jimmy Hensley catching him or something. I don't know if he's on the lead lap or whatever, but he's on a different brand of tire, and it would take a different brand of tire, I think, to catch him because he's pretty good today.
Michael Waltrip.
Dick Berger, can you ask him what he thinks he's going to do with Earnhardt tomorrow? I'd be interested to know how...
Yeah, I'm interested, too. What can you do with Earnhardt tomorrow?
That'll be a different story, you know. This little bump with the wall cost us today, but sometimes those things make you remember a little bit more about being patient and taking your time, and that's what it takes to win a 600-mile race. I'm sure I'll think about this a lot tonight. We got a real strong car for tomorrow. I feel like we can win this race. The Goodyear Eagle radials are right on it, and the Pennzoil Pontiac is flying, and it's going to be a great day. Today is not a setback. It just kind of, it'll make me better tomorrow.
Yeah, they got a good driver, too.
Morgan Shepherd just fell way off the pace, gentlemen. As he came to the start-finish line, Morgan fell way back and down in turn number 1. He's on the bottom of the track. He has been running in third, but you can tear up the tickets on car number 97. Morgan Shepherd idling out of this one. This will move Jimmy Hensley into third, and Jack Sprague has come back to fourth. The kid that sat on the pole, remember that $20,000 bonus? I guess he heard the word.
He figured he didn't want to go 40. He's going to get the 20 while it's available. He's working the car back to the front.
Car number 05 coming on pit road. Looks like the end of the day on the 05 car down here. I think that's Bobby Dobbins' car. It's not Bobby Hillen's car. I think that's 03. I think that's Bobby Hillen's machine that just came in. Here is Morgan Shepherd.
Ken, we've got Kenny Stabler rambling around like a kid in a candy store on pit road. Let's get down there and see what he's found out. He's mingling with everybody.
Well, Ken, I've worn an awful lot of helmets. I've worn an awful lot of helmets in my day, but nothing like this. This is a Simpson-made helmet, and then Rafco Racing takes it and converts it into this air filter system. And Richard Bostic of Kyle Petty's team is going to explain what this helmet's all about.
Well, Kenny, this helmet has got a filter system on the side. It's got a filter. It takes the air on the outside, filters it, keeps all the fumes out, dust and so forth. And it's a blower. It blows cool air inside the helmet. It keeps you real cool. You've got a battery system pack on the side here. it'll last for probably 45 to 50 minutes. So basically, I don't run it all the time. I'll just take and switch it on and off. But as long as I keep this lid down, it'll keep me real cool over inside.
Boy, technology in NASCAR racing.
Neil Bonnet has a thought about all that.
Hey, Kenny Stabler, I know you played with some guys that need that filter, the air coming out of there on Sundays. Some of those guys you played with kind of partied hard. They might need that filter to clean it up before they got it back out of the helmet.
Let's take a look at car number 10, Ernie Irvan, as Jimmy Hensley is in quest of second spot. They don't run breathalyzer tests on those guys, do they, in the NFL?
Stabler told me they needed it with that bunch he played with.
Earnhardt has drawn away. He's got about 25 car lengths. His 132 complete. There's Irvan in second, Jimmy Hensley in third. There's a great crowd. It's a record attendance here today at Charlotte. Hope you're enjoying the competition as we watch this battle for second place just get better. Hensley, ooh!
They're both getting loose over those bumps right there. It looked like Ernie's car broke loose and slipped up, and then Hensley slipped right behind him. They both got their hands full in that area we were talking about. Wreck right here coming through the tri-oval.
Two cars off the track. One is Terry Labonte's number 94. He picks it up and keeps on going. The blue car, Terry Labonte. There's a pass in the grass.
They just forgot to wreck. They were wrecked and didn't finish it. They were both sideways coming through the grass and straightened out.
Robert Powell, the number 5, got a piece of the 94, and Terry Labonte just went back to Texas dirt track style and kept right on trucking. That's Terry Labonte, number 94, running in 14th position at lap 134. He took that wild excursion.
Dick Berggren is down in the pits with Morgan Shepherd. Let's see what happened to him.
Well, it ran awful good while it ran awful good while it ran, Morgan, but it quit running. How come?
I think we burned a piston, Dick. Temperature got up a little bit hot when I was running behind Ernie there, and undoubtedly it must have caused it to burn a piston. But we had our stagger too close in the early run there, and when we loosened it up a little bit there, we got to going a little better.
Yeah, we're hearing up and down pit road from a lot of teams, Ken, that are saying the heat is beginning to get to the engines. It's not bothering the drivers any, but there's a lot of guys who are beginning to run warmer than they'd like to.
It's getting very warm for second place. Ernie Irvan is held. Take a look at Jack Sprague in the 48. Here's your leader, Dale Earnhardt, and he has just drawn further and further away. The battle is right here for second. Ernie Irvan is there, Jimmy Hensley, and Jack Sprague in the 48, all contending for the runner-up spot at this moment, and this is going to complete 136 of 200 laps this time by. Waltrip is across the stripe, and then it's 2.5 seconds back to the battle that follows him.
I tell you, Jack Sprague really came alive. We were just talking just a few laps ago that he was back there kind of out of contention, and he's driven that car up to the front and really challenging right now for third place.
Jack Sprague sat on the pole. The Michigan racer sold everything he had with what had remained in a pickup truck and came, and there he goes on the outside. That is Sprague moving around Jimmy Hensley and taking over again in third. Schrader is in fifth. Dick Trickle has fallen to sixth. Schrader's on the move. He's up to fifth spot. Trickle is sixth. Dave Mader is seventh. Darrell Waltrip is eighth.
Dave Mader, who led this race earlier, got back on the cautions, and now he's working his way back to the front. He's having a good run also.
That continues to be the battle in second. $259,000 in the coffers to be divvied up when this one's over today. And we'll be back with more of the Champion Spark Plug 300 from the Great Charlotte Motor Speedway after a word from your local sponsors. 142 of 200 laps complete, but after that, it's a totally different look. Jack Sprague's number 48 has moved into the second position. Sprague running in second, and you can see the interval here as Earnhardt continues to run away from the field. That's how much distance he has gathered over that second place car, the white number 48 of Jack Sprague. But the story is the car behind Sprague. Number 92, Dick Trickle, just unleashed 3 great laps over 161 miles an hour. He pulls himself into third. Ernie Irvan falls to fourth. Ernie Irvan right there in the 10 car in fourth. Behind him is the number 25 car, to give you an idea of how they're set on the racetrack. There's Jimmy Hensley. Now the 6th place car is the 23, Dave Mader, who, as Neil Bonnet pointed out, led earlier, and you can see there's a pretty fat interval between Hensley and Mader in the 6th position. There's the 23. Back in 7th is car number 17, Darrell Waltrip. 8th spot is the 45 of Jimmy Spencer. It's Pontiac, white car, coming along. Running in 9th is Bobby Labonte. That's a lap car. The 08, which has not had much of a day. Bobby Daughter out of Chicago, great ARCO runner. Riding with Bobby Labonte, he's in 9th position. His Oldsmobile that started in 27, R44.
And Tommy Houston right under him there. We saw the shot out of the camera right on the left side. Tommy Houston trying to get up there. He got his lap back earlier in the race and worked himself back into contention. Tommy Houston is fixing to work on Labonte right now.
And you see Jimmy Spencer's 45 has been caught up in that crowd. He's fallen back, and Harry Gant's in it. So the battle back here in 10th is a pretty good one right now. 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th.
That's the car that Burton started and got out, and Spencer got back in it, and he made the statement after he got out of the car, you can expect this car to go to the front. The car must have had a real good feel to him.
Look at Bobby Labonte moving in on the 96. They're showing the 96 as a lap down out here, Neil. The 96 car of Tom Peck is a lap down, the Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania runner. Here's Barney Hall.
Ken Schrader, who started 33rd and at one time had worked his way up to as high as 5th and 7th position. Kenny, you're in the garage right now. That's not a happy day, but the car's in one piece.
Yeah, it's in one piece, so we had a good run going and something laid down inside the engine, and the power started falling off, and it's knocking right now. It would have went ahead and blowed up, maybe crashed the car or something. It wouldn't have made another lap. So we're in here and set out there, but we're come back.
Was it as hot as it looked like? You don't seem to be too wet and sweat here, so to speak.
It's not too bad, you know. It's got a good little breeze out there, and when I'm racing, I don't care how hot it is when I'm getting a race.
He's ready to go tomorrow, Ken. He's out of it today, still with a big smile.
Yeah, and he's a leading favorite to win the 600. Hope you'll be with us on TBS tomorrow when Ken Schrader settles down around 1 o'clock. Here's that number 6 car. Here's Tommy Houston on the inside of Jimmy Spencer for 9th spot. Got it. So the number 6 moves around the 45. Bobby Labonte is in 8th.
Chuck Bound going behind the wall down here. We were talking about earlier about these guys having troubles, and he was one of the points guy that was still sticking away with it. Now he's fell out of the race for a while.
Chuck Bound's car number 63, which had run up in the top 7, now out of the event. We have 20 cars remaining in the lead lap. 21st position is that number 96 we've been seeing in that war back in 8th, 9th, and 10th. Tom Peck is 21st, 1 lap down.
Ken, that was the first time I was just watching Earnhardt come off the 4th turn, and that's the first time all day I've seen him slide sideways, and he was certainly all over the racetrack.
Earnhardt, who qualified 21st, now leading. Here's that battle for 4th. Ernie Irvan in the 10, and Jimmy Hensley in the 25. This coming at lap 150 this time by.
Ken, they've been doing this for the last 15 laps. He can get up under him in the middle of the corner, and Ernie really seems to be able to power away down the straightaways. So it's just been a struggle. One of them's real good in the corner, one's real good down the straightaway.
Bobby King car, the 25, sticks right in there. Made a very good run. But all of a sudden, Dick Trickle just came from nowhere and wheeled around those folks. Found himself a 3rd place.
And Ken, earlier we saw that car on pit road with a hood up, people under every direction trying to figure what's going on. Evidently, it wasn't too bad a problem because the thing has really come alive now.
Average speed for this race is staying at 113.4 miles per hour, which is well off the record. We've had several cautions in the early going, but since halftime of the event, it's been caution-free.
This thing kind of settles down. Every time you look up, Ernie's leading, and Hensley's trying to get around him, and he can't get completely clear him. A lot of times he'll get up beside him, but he can't get by him. I'm not sure if once he cleared him, he's not going to go on.
He's back about 2 car lengths now in that effort to clear the 10. Kenny Stabler is standing by with a man who's put together the engine and the team that has set a record and sets on the pole for the $1 million Coca-Cola 600 tomorrow. Ken?
We're here with Jack Roush of Roush Racing. Jack, you're out of it today. Have you learned anything today that might help Mark Martin tomorrow?
Well, we're watching to see what's happening with the tires. You know, this place traditionally goes tight on a pit stop as the tires get more and more time and more temperature in them. And The track every year is getting wore out more too, so we were concerned if it would still have that kind of a flip this year where you start off with the car fairly loose on new tires and then it would go tight. That's what it looks like it's doing.
How about a quick thought on your young driver, Jeff Gordon?
Jeff Gordon's got a great future. You know, we're really excited about what his prospects are. His car's a little bit, Carolina Ford dealer said it looks a little bit tight today, but they're going to change 2 tires on and loosen him up. We think we'll be able to run toward the end here.
Jack Rouse getting ready for tomorrow.
Right now, looking for that position is Hensley. He moved in on Ernie Irvin and gave him a little dose of his own medicine, huh?
Tapped him a little bit there and said, I want to come on by, and he certainly did. He went on around and got in front of him now.
So Hensley moves up into 4th, Ernie Irvin falls to 5th. And there's that number 1 car of Jeff Gordon, the kid that won last night in Indiana out there on the mile in the Silver Crown Series. Came here today to run this Ford, and he goes back to run a midget tonight at Indianapolis Raceway Park. And he's 19 years old, and he's already a United States Auto Club midget champion. He is some kind of a kid.
Yeah, and he's one of the few guys to go up there. I think A.J. Foyt was the promoter on that race last night, the first time he ever promoted a race, and he got some of A.J.'s money and came on back home.
Took some of Buddy Job's money, too, the fellow that runs the Phoenix track. Jeff Gordon currently leads in the rookie standings by some 22 points over David Green. And he wants to go stock car racing, but he sure is good in the open wheelers. Chuck Bound is coming back on the speedway. You see the 1 car closing up on the 94. That's a battle for 13th position. Labonte in the 94, just in front of the number 1. There you see him. Terry Labonte in the 94 and this wild ride down across the grass area here at the start-finish line. Trying to hold off the number 1. Chuck Bound is back on the track. Now 4 or 5 laps down. Not many Fords. They're kind of scant in Grand National Racing these days. Ford started to come in, then they backed out of it when they realized the V8 was going to be the way that Winston Cup race was going to be staying in years to come.
Yeah, the Buick motor, the Buick V6 has had a lot of development, also for other types of racing, so the adaptation over here on this side is really good.
There you see Jack Sprague in 48. That's the 2nd place car, the white machine. And right behind him comes Dick Trickle in car number 92. 3rd place runner, and Dick Trickle looks like he's out to run down Sprague for 2nd position. 157 laps now in the book. Fastest race this has been run at was an average speed of 139 miles per hour. And we're still moving on about 114.8. Car 45 makes an entrance on the pit road and back out again. Berwick, Pennsylvania's Jimmy Spencer had bad luck out here a week ago. Doing a little work on the front, trying to get a little more air into that thing with a 9-pound hammer.
It's been a long green run. These guys have been going green since the halfway mark.
So the champion Sparkplug 300 remains firmly in the hands of Dale Earnhardt. The Intimidator not in here today, but he's just driving away right now. We'll see if he can stay out there. 300 here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Well out in front. For the moment, let's get a Goodyear Eagle Racing update from Mike Joy.
Thank you, Ken. In this update, we'll take a look at some of NASCAR's support series. The new Super Speedway division, grooming the stars of tomorrow, ran here at the Charlotte Speedway on Wednesday. Pole sitter Dennis Setzer had engine trouble and couldn't start that race on the pole. It put Mark Cox in number 74 opposite the 8 of Robbie Faggart when they dropped the green flag. They battled wheel to wheel for distance. Then T.W. Taylor came up to challenge Richie Petty. Learned a lesson the hard way as his 41 went into the wall, also taking Taylor and Phil Rogers out of the race. When they went back to green, Marty Ward in 97 was the challenger to Faggart's number 8. Faggart had made a pit stop on the Richie Petty caution. Ward ran out of gas with 2 laps to go and finished up in 13th spot. That left Faggart to battle to the checkered flag, beating Mark Cox by 1 car length. And Steve Schumann out of Florida right there in the lead draft. They also ran here this morning, and we'll have footage of that for you tomorrow during Coke 600 coverage. Here's a look at the way they finished. Robbie Faggart, picking up the race win. The young driver shown here from Concord, North Carolina. From Walnut Cove, Mark Cox earned the second place. Schumann from Florida, Lee Tissot, and Jerry Rector. Last night up in Connecticut at the Stafford Motor Speedway, a race created 20 years ago by our Dick Berger and friends, the Spring Sizzler. Jeff Fuller picked up the win in the modified tour race. Wayne Anderson from Long Island, George Brunholzl, Steve Park, and Doug Hebron, defending winner, and series point leader Mike Stefanik finished in the 6th position. So Stefanik will hold his point standing lead on the modified tour over Rick Fuller and Doug Hebron. That's our second Goodyear Eagle racing update for the day. Here's Ken Squire.
We're under caution for debris on the track, Mike, and I think we're going to see all the leaders come in and tank up with that final run to the checkers this afternoon. Gee, Neil, how can they call it? You know, when Dick Berger invented this spring system, I mean, it was spring, early spring, and it was back there, and you had to have your mittens and your coat 20 years ago. I remember going down to that thing. You'd go like a snowman to watch that race. Now they run it here, and it's warm, and that's how a bunch of fans have changed. Let's go to Barney Hall down on Pit Road.
Well, the leaders in the pits, Ken, right now, a quick stop. They took a look at those right side tires, dumped in a little Unocal gasoline, and sent him back onto the racetrack. Now, had this race stayed under green, they had planned to pit at lap 175 for gasoline only. They had just taken the tire over the wall. The tire they did change, and it looks in real good shape. I think he could have got by without even changing it. But Earnhardt, according to Tony Eury, his crew chief, is in great shape to just go on and win this thing if everything remains without any having mechanical problems on that car.
Great report, Barney. Having any fun down there today?
It's a little different, I'll tell you that. I found out one thing. These guys that work down here is a sure whole other side of this business, Ken, because they really earn their money in the heat that's out here today. It is warm.
Barney Hall has been in the booth for over 20 years with the Motor Racing Network, and it's his first time. We're delighted he's with us. And I'm sure he wishes he was where you're sitting right now, Barney.
Ken, I tell you what, if anybody knows everybody on pit road, it's Barney. He's known everybody down through there. If anybody can get the tips, he'll find out what's going on for us.
Well, he usually knows about them before they do. We have 166 laps. Mr. Gossett, if you need any information, all you got to do is call the golf course in North Carolina, good par 3 where he runs. He'll fill you right in. I think he must stay on the telephone at least 14 hours a day to keep up with all the stuff he knows. We are showing 167 this time by with Earnhardt in front, Hensley in second, Labonte third, Dick Trickle fourth, Harry Gant fifth. Thought, Neil?
Well, we got a little bit of time here. Dick Berger's roaming around. Let's see what else he's found out.
Well, what I saw, Neil Bonnet, was Jack Sprague had an absolutely lousy pit stop. He came in here in second position, and he is way back in the pack now in serial position. A tank of fuel, 2 tires, 23.95. Nothing went wrong. It was just a very, very slow pit stop for Jack Sprague. So he will have his work cut out for him if he hopes to get back up to that second spot that he held before this round of pit stops.
Ken, I just wanted you to know your calendar was correct. They do still run that Spring Sizzler when the dandelions are in bloom, but they got April showered out in the middle of the month. That's why they ran it last night.
Oh, gosh, it didn't seem right. Icebreaker at Thompson, Connecticut in the springs. I mean, you really had to go dressed for snow season when you went to those races back when they were created. Getting ready on a green next time by, and as they tighten up, here's how they look. Dale Earnhardt will be first, Jimmy Hensley second, Bobby Labonte has taken himself to third. Fourth is Dick Trickle, fifth is Harry Gant, sixth is Ernie Irvan, seventh Tommy Houston, Darrell Waltrip is in eighth, Jack Sprague is back to ninth after that pit stop that Dick Bergen was referring to. In 10th was Ward Burton, and 11th is Terry Labonte. Jeff Gordon in 12th. All right, we're just about set to go. Don't forget U.S. Olympic Gold, the Bruce Jenner Classic. That's live tonight following Braves baseball here on WTBS. You think he can hold them off?
I tell you what, you know, Mike Waltrip said earlier the only thing he felt like would be able to handle Dale would be a different brand of tire. That different brand of tire is sitting on his back bumper right now, so we're just going to have to see if that's going to be enough difference to do that.
Goodyear on the first place car, and Hoosier tires on the second as we get set to turn them loose. And this should take them home. 168 complete when they come by of the 200 laps that make the Champion Sparkplug 300. 200 laps of competition, 300 miles on this gorgeous day. Clean break for Earnhardt. Jumps out by 2 car lengths. Lap car tucks right in with him and trucks down into turn number 1. Cecil Eunice, who's up in the top 15 now and then, was right there on that restart. Just outside that lead lap, Cecil Eunice being shown in 19th, 1 lap down.
Holding Dave Mater on pit road for a 1-lap penalty for some reason, as the leaders come off turn 4, so he's going a lap down.
One thing Hensley doesn't need is that lap car, number 19.
No, because even though you might have a quicker car, see, just like right there, you're having to work the car harder than you need to try to get to the leader. But that guy running, trying to get his lap back, he's got the same. One good thing about this, here comes somebody 3 deep on the inside.
Bobby Labonte just blasting down into that corner and had it sideways in 3.
Just made a charge on the inside. So you catch 2 cars side by side like that, you get a tremendous draft. And he got such a pull, he went by both of them.
Oh, Bobby Labonte is in the 2nd spot, and he's ready to challenge Earnhardt. What a move. Champion spark plug-in car Cameron giving that picture as he rounds turn 2 and tries to close in again. With him comes Dick Trickle in number 92 on the backside, and Trickle's going to make a move. Well, it's down to pay time.
You can make that move, Ken, but can you stay down there? That's what we're talking about. He's drifting up. He's real high. He's almost ran out of room. He had to slide up in front of Labonte. It's hard to make that move and stay down there.
That wall really comes up fast in 4.
It sure does, and I promise you, it's hard, too. Here they are going down in 1. It's pretty easy. See these cars down on the inside down there? You can hold the car down there. The hard thing to do is be able to work it low in 3 and 4. Big, long run down this back straightaway, and it'll surprise you, the acceleration from these 6-cylinders on this part of the racetrack.
Boy, if they had a play of the race, that move by Labonte to take second. Look at this scramble. The 25 and the 25 is there, and he's back under the 44. Jimmy Hensley right back on the bottom of the racetrack. Right through, putting Bobby back to 4th, Harry Gant in 5th, Urban in 6th, Waltrip in 7th.
You know, right now, Earnhardt's got all the Dick Trickle he wants. Dick came through all that pack and ran him down on the green wall. Was actually gaining on him. And right now, Dale is not able to assert that power he had before and pull away. Trickle's going to be a handful.
Last May, Dick Trickle came into this race. First one he'd ever run. Finished 2nd. Here he is in number 92, running 2nd and closing on Earnhardt. And I mean, he's closing. He's there, 1 car length away.
We know Earnhardt too well to say, well, he's just sitting there coasting. He's running as hard as he can go. These 2 guys are fixing to fight it out. We haven't got that much time left in the race, and they're going to have to go right now.
There's about 15 car lengths, maybe 20 now, to Jimmy Hensley in 3rd, Bobby Labonte in 4th. But here's the story. 174 laps complete, this time by of 200. It's a battle for the lead. Wisconsin Rapid, Wisconsin's legend, Dick Trickle. Won so many races. Whose story do you want to believe? Is it 800? Is it 1,000? Anyway, he is the king of short track racing throughout the Midwest. He's closing in on Earnhardt. This is one he'd love.
We were talking earlier about Jeff Gordon running a lot of races. Dick Trickle used to race 5 and 6 nights a week. And I tell you, nothing ever wore him out. And right now, he's fixing to try to wear Earnhardt out.
Here's Harry Gant in car number 7, up to 4th. Hensley just in front of him in the 25, the green number 7. The band is rolling. Harry Gant is in 4th. Bobby Labonte is in 5th. Ernie Irvan is in 6th. What a scramble. And Waltrip, he turns up the wick. There's Tom Peck's number 96, still being shown that lap down.
And Darrell might try that three abreast deal right here. No, they just packed up a little too much. You catch 2 cars side by side like that, you really get a pull down that back straightaway.
For 5th place, 10 on the inside, Irvan outside, number 44, Labonte. Rounding 3 and 4, tight running, inches apart, just working those bumpers.
Jack Sprague is the guy that just went around the outside of Darrell Waltrip. Dick Berggren told us he had a bad pit stop. Even at that, he's coming right on back up through the pack. He's still got a chance to run him down.
You can talk about the 600, and it's prestigious, and it has all the money, and it has all the stars, but this is just simply fine racing.
Ken, it's good racing, and it does the same thing. This is the 600 for the Busch Series. This right here is what makes it able for the sponsors to get in there and support these cars. The big crowd we've got here in the TV audience, these guys are running just like it was a 600.
From Bobby Labonte's view, coming way down that main straightaway for one of the biggest crowds they race in front of. Charlotte Motor Speedway, live on a Saturday afternoon here on the Superstation. Here's Bobby Labonte with his hands full. Ernie Irvan up on the inside of him.
Look who's coming up on the rear, Ken. Jack Sprague, the man we're talking about, got behind. He's making up that difference in his driver's seat. He's coming on up through the pack.
And again, Ernie Irvan is in the 5th spot. Labonte is in 6th. Now Sprague is into 6th. Jack Sprague into 6th. Labonte back to 7th.
Ken, one thing that's been impressive about Jack Sprague's car, see where he clears them right here?
Yep.
Once he clears them, usually it's a tie down the straightaway. His car is able to pull away, and he can make the pass in one lap, where it's taking some people a lot of laps. There's Labonte waving his hand or his fist out the back window at someone.
Jack Sprague, number 48, clearing Labonte, holding on to 6th. Does it make you nervous to race with the Winston Cup drivers, Jack? Here's a pass for 3rd. Number 7, Harry Gant, around Hensley. So it's Earnhardt, Trickle, Gant, Hensley, Irvan, Sprague, top 6.
Ken, is this the same Harry Gant that we saw said his car wasn't running good today? And
yeah.
It's time that Gant usually does what he always does. He starts moving to the front right there. Here's a chance for a pass for the lead right here off of turn 4.
Dick Trickle gets to the inside. He has Earnhardt pinned.
Slammed and pinned.
And he's got him down. Took the 3 count on that one. Here's number 92, Dick Trickle taking the lead. Now Earnhardt's going to try the inside.
Trying it back on the inside. Going to make him work for the pass.
For the lead. Turn 3.
That is a patented Earnhardt move. As soon as you pass him, if you're not careful, he'll stick his nose right back and come back again. And I believe we're going to see Trickle try it again. Maybe we'll do this the rest of the race, just back and forth.
181 complete. Trickle pulls up, knocks on the trunk, lets him know he's there. Harry Gant's in 3rd, Hensley's in 4th. Let's go into that Dick Trickle pit area and see how they feel that car's running. I don't think there's much question. It's running great. Dick Berg.
Well, I'm with Larry Penn, Dick Trickle's crew chief. You were racing awful close. You're going to keep doing that for the last of the race?
Hey, we've been trying to catch up all day long. We want to get to the front now.
Can you just put Earnhardt away, or is it going to be close like this all the way? All right, can you just put Earnhardt away, or is it going to be close right down to the finish?
It's going to end up probably a 3-car battle with Gant right in there, too.
Okay, they're watching down here, and they're worried about Harry Gant as well as Dale Earnhardt. I don't blame him. I would be, too, if I were them.
Call that one, Neil. Here comes Gant, and he is closing them down. He's about 12 car lengths back of car number 92.
Make it 6 car lengths. We're fixing to see him come into the shot. He is really rolling right now.
Feeling good about himself. Harry Gant in car number 7 has to after that great Talladega win. And right behind him comes Hensley in 4th, Irvan in 5th, Sprague doing so well out here today in 6th, Waltrip back in 7th, and Tommy Houston hanging tough in 8th spot. Bobby Labonte's in 9th. Back straightaway. Working 184. Earnhardt with the advantage. And Dick Trickle has passed him. Now who's faking out here? Who's throwing the dummy?
Ken, I think what happens when you see like Dale and Dick Trickle mix it up, they heat the tires. That pass they made really enabled Harry to get up there. Now he sees he's got a shot at it. He slides up on the edge of that driver's seat, snatches down them belts and said, okay, I got a shot at these guys. It makes you have a little bit more pull at them. They've abused their car and their tires more than Gant has where they're mixing it up in the racing.
Well, Neil, I think somebody got on the phone to Earnhardt because the last 2 and 3 laps he's been going in the corner and trying to put his tires right down on the white line. Now the car will slip up just a bit, but I think they told him on the radio, his spotter up on the roof, that Harry Gant was coming, and if he quit fooling around with Trickle, Gant would be there before he knew it. So he's trying to pull away and hold any kind of advantage to lengthen the time it takes Harry Gant to get up with him.
Handsome Harry is there. He's rolled right up into this thing. This could be the best finish we've ever had in this Grand National race.
I tell you what, they're closing it down. They can't afford to race up there. They would have rather raced just 2 of them for the win, and they saw that 1 or 2 passes close the gap on them, and now they're going to string it out a little bit. I don't know if they can hold Gant on.
Barney Hall is standing by in Dale Earnhardt's pits.
Ken, I'll tell you how anxious things are in Dale Earnhardt's pits.
One of the crewmen is standing here with his fingers crossed, looking out at that racetrack and kind of dancing up and down. His crew chief, Tony Uri, is standing here. Tony, what's he saying? Can he hold him off?
I don't know. It looks like it's going to come down to a Saturday night 12-lapper is what it looks like. We're still running just as good as we have all day long, but I think everybody else picked up a little bit on that last stop, but we're going to do all we can do. I think we can hold them off. Trickle, I believe Harry's the one that's going to be the one to beat, though.
That's the thoughts of Tony Uri, the crew chief on Dale Earnhardt's car. And Ken, as we've said over the years, catching Dale Earnhardt is one thing, passing him for the money is another.
Well, that's what you've always said, Neil.
Yeah, that thing can get real wide, but let me tell you, you just heard him say a 12-lap Saturday night race. That's 3 of the best Saturday night racers you'll ever see right there in one pack, so they're going to be up to the challenge.
12 laps this time by. Past winners of this Champion Spark Plug 300. And up in front right now, you have Earnhardt, who's won it. Gant's in that collection. The guy that would like to add his name is running in second place. Wisconsin's Richard Trickle. We're back for the finish of the Champion Spark Plug 300 after these messages.
All next week on
Challenged in the last 2 or 3 laps by Dick Trickle in number 92 for the lead. And Earnhardt has thrown some change-ups here in these last laps. We have 192 complete as you look at the leaderboard, with Earnhardt first, Trickle in second, Harry Gant third, Jimmy Hensley maintaining fourth, and Jack Sprague running in fifth. 193 complete this time by.
You know, when they get down to this point of the race, Harry had to make a long run and might have used up some cars, but he's one of the best you'll ever see in regrouping in 2 or 3 laps. He might be getting that thing back under him to make one more hard run at the end of the race.
Let's talk about your Kannapolis, North Carolina. So, and the way he's changed his driving style out here to fend off Trickle.
Well, just like any sport, you got offense, you got defense. Trickle got up there and made a couple of moves low off of the 4th turn, and we saw Dale start running low. He's usually running a high line off that corner. A couple of times he ran low and he got away from Trickle. They're both doing the same thing. Dale's looking for a different place. Trickle's looking for a different place. And the one that finds the place they work the best is going to be hard to beat right here at the end.
Harry Gant in the Ed Whitaker, number 7, in your picture in 3rd spot, closes down again. 194 complete, 195 this time by. Earnhardt's won here in 2 previous Grand National races, one in May and one in October, 83 and 86. Like to make it a trio here this afternoon, and it looked like he was just going to make this race a snore. It was going to be a walkover. No longer the case, as Dick Trickle is really onto him now, and Trickle closes down again. Dick Trickle moves in another time. This is reminiscent of what we saw just 4 laps ago on that commercial break. He's down there strong, chasing him out of turn number 2.
Ken, a lot of times the driver uses a number to operate on. The flagman just put it out and said 5 laps to go. You'll almost say, well, I'm going to cool it down. I'm going to cool it down. Let me know when there's 5 to go, and I'll make a hard run at him. It might be your last effort in these last 5 laps, so maybe when they saw the 5 to go, they decided to pick the pace up again.
Back to the line they come, and they tighten up that formation for the lead.
I tell you, they've been close just like this. It's hard to see any one of them with a strong place. They seem to be pretty equal on both ends of the racetrack.
Top 3 down into turn 3, 196 complete. Earnhardt, Trickle, and Gant. Pretty good battle developing behind them. Hensley and Sprague back in the 4th position. But for the moment, there they are. There's the 25, Jimmy Hensley in his Olds. And right with him comes Jack Sprague. Behind them is Walter in 6th position. What are these folks standing up for? Well, that battle up in front, which is just a dandy.
Ken, you know, we always talk about Winston Cup racing, good parity with the manufacturers. Here's such a Chevrolet, a Pontiac, and a Buick. Those mobiles are right in the first 4 cars. So these guys have pretty well got their stuff in order, too.
Harry Gant trying to make a move on Dick Trickle in the back stretch. 198 complete this time by. Earnhardt changing lanes, trying everything he can to hold on for the win.
This is the part of the race where you try to outslide the other guy. You're running the car harder than you have all day. The car's slipping and sliding. And these 3 guys right here are some of the best at getting all that car's got. Right now, they're running them over their head.
Harry Gant Taylorsville, North Carolina campaigner with 14 Grand National wins, falls back just a little now in his effort, and it's back to 3 car lengths between Dick Trickle, number 92, and Earnhardt, the man up in front.
Trickle slipped just enough to let Gann almost get up under him off of that corner.
Final lap. This is it for the money. $259,000 about to be parceled out a lap away. Earnhardt is there. Trickle has tried his heart out. Remember, started in 8th. Gann started in 25th today. Trickle fell way back out of the top 20 at one time, and has come right back into it. Here's Trickle in car number 92, down for the final lap, out of turn number 4. Checkered flag is about to be waved, and as they come to the line, Trickle is there, but it's not enough. Dale Earnhardt has won at his 16th Grand National win, his 3rd Grand National victory at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Dale Earnhardt, qualified 21st, comes rambling back to defeat Dick Trickle and Harry Gann in a dramatic champion Spark Plug 300. Finishing 4th this afternoon will be Jimmy Hensley. In 5th, Jack Sprague. 6th is Darrell Waltrip. Tommy Houston 7th, Bobby Labonte 8th, Ward Burton is 9th, Terry Labonte ends up in 10th spot, and Butch Miller concludes in 11th. More in a moment.
Inside your protection with long-lasting True Test Weatherall house paint, exclusively from True Value Hardware stores and Home Center.
At the Charlotte Motor Speedway, let's meet the champion in the champion Spark Plug 300.
Well, Dale Earnhardt, how hard did Dick Trickle run you?
He ran me real hard. You know, we were running real good in that first part, and we run about the same in the second as far as the car felt and the consistency. And, you know, he just got better, and he was running me pretty hard, but his Jim Goodrich Chevrolet really done a number on him.
Make Teresa happy anyway.
Yeah, it makes us all happy, really. Richard Childers is the guy, Spenny Clendon and them put this engine together, and this car and this engine won Daytona. So we brought it here, and it won again. So it's a good race car, and, you know, we're really happy that Chevrolet helped us out, and we've been doing a good job for them.
Right behind your knee, there's a great big tire mark. Who knocked you in the door and said hello?
I got no idea who that was. We close racing there a couple times. You know, it just, you know, down the straightaway a little bit, but no problem.
How much of the end of the race was offense, and how much of it was defense?
Well, I was just trying to run a real consistent pace and not get out of shape. You know, if I run him consistent laps, Dick would have to work harder to get by me. And I slipped one time, he got by me, and then I got back by him, so we're lucky there.
Well, there's Dale Earnhardt, the winner. Barney Hall is with Dick Trickle, who finished 2nd. Barney?
Well, Dick Trickle is sweating quite a bit here. Dick, that was some finish there. You all gave it everything you had, just a little bit short.
Yeah, we had enough car, you know, and Mac Martin and Larry Penn and my old 66 crew crewed the car in the pits, and we had enough car, enough motor. We were just a little bit too tight, and I had to back out in the corners. I tried to run it harder, and the car just run up the track, and I'd lose time, so I had to back up and just drive it. And at that point, all I could do was keep up, and once in a while I get a better lap than him, and once in a while he get a better lap than me, but we're really even. Had we just got another turn out of it, we'd have won the race.
Earnhardt can make you work for it, can he?
Well, I'll tell you, I worked just as hard back in the pack. You know, we just had even cars, and I think if I'd have got in front of him, I may have been able to stay ahead of him because my car was pushing, and his car being in front of mine took the wind off my nose and made me push it a little worse. Had I ever been able to get ahead of him, I think I could have held the lead or even maybe went away from him.
Not all that unhappy with the 2nd place finish, Dick Trickle.
No, but he's already reviewing what was wrong with his performance. A guy who had a great run today and is a serious contender to win tomorrow is standing by in the STP Pit Center with Mike Joy.
Well, Ken, Ernie Irvin had a good race today, and but for a problem with the engine, would have finished his first Busch race of the year. But I want to focus on tomorrow and your Kodak Chevrolet for the Morgan McClure team and that $1 million that kind of dances out there for a fellow who can win 3 of the big 4. How about it tomorrow?
Well, I tell you, that's a tough deal to do. You know, I just found out the other day, yesterday, that Harry told me that it's only been done twice. Once before and then once with Bill Elliott. So, you know, it's a tough feat, but our Kodak team's been working hard and our car's handling good. And hopefully we'll have a better luck than we did with our Mack Tool Chevrolet today.
Are you running well enough to have a good chance tomorrow?
I think so far, but now the weather's got hot again, and it was cool this morning. I was real fast, and we're interested in getting out there this afternoon and see what it'll do.
Now, I saw you during one of the off days this week. I think it was Thursday afternoon, tooling around Concord in this beautiful dark blue Chevrolet. What year was that?
That was a 37 Chevy I just bought from Morgan Shepherd, and I was on my way to Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet to do an autograph session, and it's a lot of fun to drive.
37. You'd think for winning the Daytona 500 that Chevrolet would buy him a new one. But Ernie will be out there trying it tomorrow. We'll be back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway right after these messages.
Earnhardt's the winner of the race. Who gets the True Value Master Mechanic Award today? I tell you what, I was impressed with the Chuck Bounds team. Jeff Hensley got him back out here twice, and Bobby King did such a great job for Jimmy Hensley, and then there's your guys.
Well,
that's not unfair. I shouldn't say it that way. It's not your guys, but everybody, because that you and Earnhardt are synonymous in the off season. That team was spectacular.
That car's reliable. They just keep it in good shape. There's so many good guys up and down pit road and stuff that we don't get to see. You don't have to win the race to have a good effort in the pits.
Well, what do you say about Bobby King? That team, that Hensley team, really came together. They were down earlier. They fought their way back into this thing. They had qualified 29th. They made themselves major contenders all day for the Don Beverly Oldsmobile, and we'll give the True Value Master Mechanic somebody different this time, and I think Bobby King is certainly a good recipient.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Let's go to Mike Joy in the STP Pit Center.
Well, Ken, look at the tail of the tape. This race ran 2 hours and 16 minutes to an average speed of 133.2 miles an hour. 5 drivers swapped the lead back and forth 4 times. There were 6 cautions for 30 laps. 17 cars failed to finish, and perhaps the most telling statistic of the whole day was that Dale Earnhardt led 150 out of the 200 laps today. What a job.
Tells it all. When he's on, he's dead on. The American Classic, the Coca-Cola 600. That's tomorrow here live on TBS. Hope you'll join us. Dale Earnhardt celebrating right now. Can he celebrate tomorrow is the question in one of the biggest races of the year. For Barney Hall, Mike Joy, Dick Berggren, Neil Bonnet, Ken Stabler, I'm Ken Squire saying so long from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll see you at 1 o'clock Eastern tomorrow for Winston Cup racing in the Coca-Cola 600. Don't miss it.